All right, guys, so you should be getting routed here from our other stock market show. It should redirect everybody here. I hope it works. If it doesn't work, I'm gonna be mad. There we go. Looks like a ton of this. Let me know if the redirect worked. Should have. All right, guys. Spy dipping. Yeah, there it goes. It worked. All right, cool. What's up, Thomas? What's up, TK? What's up, Darth? All right, guys. We're gonna be covering the Nvidia earnings on this stream. The broader market has been ramping up after the Fed minutes report. So they basically, the market reacted positively to that. If we look at the SPY over the last few days, I like to use like a 30-minute chart. I think a 30-minute chart is, when you zoom out, kind of gives you kind of a good example of what happened with the market over the past like week, 10 days. I think this is what this is. Yeah, it's 10 days. So this is the last 10 days of the market. So we're pretty much break even. I mean, we had some big drops. We went all the way up to 409 back on the 17th, so last week, and then we had this big drop, and then we've kind of just been reeling back from it. We had another big drop on the 20th, the morning of the 20th, but we're kind of bouncing back from all of that stuff now. I mean, the Fed minutes report basically dropped some good stuff. And yeah, the Nvidia earnings report will drop at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The full conference call will be streamed here starting at 5 p.m. I believe that's what it is. Currently, the SPY is breaking highs from bullish interpretation of the Fed minutes. That dropped at 2 p.m. Bull or bear? So yeah, this is what we got right now. What's up, Alexio? What's up, Darth?
Howdy.
Yeah.
Howdy, everybody. No, I'm just kidding. Hope everyone's doing well.
Yeah. See, it even brought us there. Look at that. It brought us here. It even brought us here. So that's good. That means it's working. What's up, Tiny? And so, yeah, to give you guys an interpretation of like what the Fed minutes report is again, I talked this to Carol earlier, and this is every 6 weeks, the Fed meets to basically discuss whether they want to raise, lower, or keep interest rates the same. They also talk about like workforce issues, workforce stuff. And so they do the report, and then weeks later, they drop the Fed minutes, which is kind of like an explanation on why they made whatever decision they made in the Fed meeting. Every 6 weeks, they make a decision of some sort, and the Fed minutes basically details in a report PDF file that you get from the Federal Reserve website, basically details why they decided to make those interpretations and why they decided to make those decisions. As we see this here, though, you can see like the white arrow here is when the Fed meetings report dropped, and the SPY is all the way to over 300, just tapped over 300, or no, over 399, I'm sorry. So the SPY just broke over 399. Nvidia itself is ramping up. It's up to 170.50s here. So Nvidia is making big moves. It's at 170.50. The SPY is up to 399s or so. And we got the full report for Nvidia coming out in about 50 minutes or so. Remember the last Fed meeting, we had a 4% up day followed by a 4% down day. I'm expecting that. Yeah, and we did get a fake out. You know, we got a fake out and then another fake out from the downside. So like the Fed's and the market's reaction to this Fed meeting is this, basically. You can see the white arrow here. Initially, we went up and we reacted positively, and then we had a big drop. Then this is all just kind of human psychology of like reading it. You know, it starts out, you got some algos that react to it. That's this right here is basically just like algorithms and other traders reacting to it. And then some traders might read it. Maybe the algos spot something that they don't like. And then you get this big drop reaction from it. And then as people read it, they become more and more optimistic. And that causes this bigger run that we're getting here. And this is all good for the market. I mean, you know, the last 10 days doesn't look that bad for the market. I mean, here's the market. If we zoom out, here's the last 10 days. That doesn't look that bad. We're mostly break even. You know, we started off 10 days ago, we were at 401s, 400. We're at 399s now. So that's basically the same. If we look at like a 20-day chart, though, you can kind of see, yeah, we've been dropping. 20-day chart gives you the full story here. The 10 days prior to this last 10 days was much more rough and bearish, weighing on the market. And then the last 10 days has been mostly break even. Mostly break even. So I'm just hoping we can stay sideways and maintain that, and then get some type of rebound later. Hopefully we just hold the gains that we're putting in and we get some type of rebound. Let me know what you guys think. I can do another poll here in terms of like bull or bear on Nvidia earnings. We've got the SPY up there to 399.20s, 399.20, so we're watching that too. And who knows? I mean, I want to see over 400. We're at 399.30s right now, and so I just want to see us over 400 is really what I want to see. Y'all do me a favor, hit the like button again if you haven't already. We're trying a new format. I'm trying to kind of run it like a network where we got different shows and different stuff going on at the different part of the day. One of the biggest requests that I get for the channel Oh, the Colossus of Cloud. That's me, man. Look, $3.99 right here. Yeah. Yeah, we got $3.99 right here. Yeah, Sandlot. Sandlot, just a great movie. But yeah, so we have Nvidia earnings today. Let's see what the poll is. I think most people are going to be bullish on Nvidia. I personally am very bullish on Nvidia. I think Nvidia's technologies are really, really interesting. And so I think those will be fun. And watching those to see how they react to the market will be interesting as well. The Nvidia earnings don't come out for about 40 minutes, 50 minutes or so. I am green on the day now, although slightly green. And so I am tempted to take a little bit of trades, especially into this bullish action here. We made a little bit on Nvidia. I guess I could keep trading it. Small share size, but might be worthwhile anyway. It's old coffee. Yeah, you don't want that. Honestly, I was down so much today, I don't even know how I'm green. I was down like $200 today, and somehow I came back and ended green. All right, so we're starting to get a little pop up again. High break here. We'll go ahead and cut that. Up about 20 on Nvidia just in power hour. We'll take the green day. Nvidia breaking highs though with the overall market. I mean, the market's testing 399.50s. I think 399.50 is an important level. I think it's an important thing. I'm bearish just on since the supply chain issues will still be a problem long term. They will be fine.
That they had flown some formula over from Europe.
Flown some formula?
Yeah, with that with the formula shortage. They had to fly some.
Yeah, I heard there's a shortage in this.
Well, there was a factory that produced like a large percentage of US formula, and then there was an issue, and they shut down or the plant. Something happened at the plant where I don't know. But I know that they had to fly some in from Europe.
Chat, what's the root cause of this formula issue? What's the root cause of this? I guess just, my guess is shipping and freight issues. Like there's shipping and freight issues. And my guess is kind of like that's what's going on. Is shipping and freight problems.
Well, no, it was the factory. There was
factory issues?
Yeah, like there was things called Abbott factories or something. It's Abbott something.
Abbott Laboratories?
No, ABB.
OTT?
Yeah. Look up Abbott formula. Look up No, you gotta look up Abula Formula Factory or something like that. Look at Abbott Formula Factory.
Abbott Formula Factory. All right, market dipping heavily here. So wow, look at Nvidia dump. SPY dropping too. Tapped 399.50 and then dropped heavily. Did something just report? All right, so FDA says that the Abbott baby formula plan is on track to reopen in 1 to 2 weeks.
Yeah, and they produced like, I don't know if it was 30%.
This is in Michigan.
They produce like 30% of U.S. baby formula.
Yeah.
I think it's 30. Don't quote me. I'm sure,
Yeah,
but it's a large chunk.
Yeah, it says the FDA inspectors began investigating 4 bacterial infections in infants who had consumed formula from the plant. It was reported to the FDA in September, but agency staff didn't begin inspecting the facility until late January. Yeah, man. They should do better.
Yeah.
There are only 4 companies in the U.S. that make formula. One got shut down because of contamination. Yeah, safety reasons, health concerns. Yeah, that's what I'm reading. If I remember right. I don't know. I didn't detail further. Honestly, I can't hear about any more kid stuff, to be honest, man. It's a hard time.
Well, that's weird. Well, this wouldn't be the last thing I'm going to add to it. I had heard about, some of these baby products. There was an issue, too. They're finding weird stuff in some of the things. Like, I read something about how they had found heavy metals and baby wipes from Walmart or something like that. Or, like, I don't know if it was a Walmart brand or what it was, but they're finding things that maybe shouldn't be in these different products.
Yeah, I mean, that happens, though. Like, they're going to have stuff in it, but...
well, like, to have a baby wipe that has, like, lead or mercury in it.
Yeah, but you know how it goes. Like, the old Johnson & Johnson stuff was, like, bad for, like, some of the Johnson & Johnson stuff.
Oh, yeah, baby powder.
Yeah.
Baby powder turned out to be...
So, I mean, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and like for me, when I had Jack, I had already had, for those, I'm sure some of you know, but I have the BRCA2 gene. And so I had a mastectomy, and then I ended up getting pregnant with Jack directly.
Yeah, Carol had a double mastectomy. So basically, like, had her breast removed and then got implants. And then reconstructed. So they're basically normal again, but, like, she had to get that surgery because she has the BRCA2 gene, which is like a breast cancer gene.
Yeah.
So when she was 20, how old were you? You were like, I was with her at the time, but
I was like 23.
Yeah, so she was 23, and then after that, right as soon as she was done with it,
I wasn't done.
They put
surgeries.
basically they do the mastectomy, and then they put in expanders that will stretch out the breast tissue in order for them to be able to fit implants.
Well, not the breast tissue. So they remove all the breast tissue, but they leave like the skin. You could do like skin and nipple sparing. So basically, on the outside, everything looks the same, but on the inside, they remove the breast tissue, and then they put in a implant or a tissue expander underneath your pectoral muscle.
And they slowly increase it and make it larger and larger until eventually they can put implants in. Right.
It's the right size pocket. And then they could go in, and then you have a second surgery to put in the actual implant. And so what happened to me was I was about a month and a half out of my initial mastectomy, and I was supposed to go in exactly a week later to go in and have the second surgery to kind of finish. And then just kind of on a hunch, I took a pregnancy test and it was positive.
Yeah.
So basically I went through the pregnancy with the tissue expanders, and then I had the surgery when I was, maybe Jack was like 6 weeks old, because I know.
Yeah, so basically she became pregnant with Jack. She had to go through the entire pregnancy with these like rock hard expanders, and then afterwards, what happened? They basically finished it once Jack was born. Like once Jack was like 6 weeks or something like that, they finished it.
Well, no, I saw that one of my breasts was starting to get a little smaller. And so there's saline in the expander. So apparently there was more than likely a hole in one of the expanders, and I was slowly kind of leaking saline. And then they kind of said, well, either we can do the surgery like right now, or we're going to have to have a surgery to put another tissue expander in and re-expand and then do the surgery. So
which would have been a mess.
Just do it now.
Yeah, we just got it done. And Jack turned out fine, We got his IQ tested, high IQ kid, super smart,
Yeah. So we relied heavily on formula.
Yeah. But I mean, it is what it is, it happens. Nvidia testing 170 now. The SPY's pulling back to this 398.56. I see Pawn said something else regarding option expiries and like when they happen. So Pawn said
That sounds nice.
today is expiration day for options on the SPY, so the last hour will have full dollar moves going to the close most likely. So yeah.
Yeah, clean slate trades. That sounds nice.
Yeah, Jack's the... Yeah, that's Pawn.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hey, Pawn. But
Yeah.
that's nice. That sounds nice. I wanted chickens when we moved. I was like, I really want to have a chicken coop and like a garden. And like just the way it worked, we can have a garden, but we can't have a chicken coop.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately.
Mark Miles, life is in the gutter, man, you know. Or mind is in the gutter, sorry, bad joke. But yeah, all good. Glad everything worked out for you and your family. Obviously a difficult situation to go through. Yeah, it was kind of a mess at the time, man, you know. And it started this thing where it's like I couldn't even work at the time because I had to, you know.
Well, we had Maddie.
We had Maddie, who was 4 at the time, or like 3 or 4 at the time, and then I couldn't work either. It kind of was a good thing because it made me kind of sit at home and figure out the internet, you know. And now here we are, you know. But so it was kind of a good thing, but at the time it wasn't. And you know,
They're nasty animals to care for. I believe.
dude, I want some chickens, bro.
They seem like they'd be like you have just a few chickens, but you have one like super chill chicken who like comes up and lets you hug them and like will just kind of chill with you.
Yeah. Yeah, those are some hard stories to hear, I'm sure, Tanvi.
What happened?
He said he just started dating an OBGYN from Johns Hopkins. She keeps telling him these terrible stories.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I believe it. I mean, you wouldn't go to, especially
Yeah.
John Hopkins. That's a good, you know,
Yeah.
well respected. But
Chickens are good, you know. Just to switch the subject
What
back
are we
here,
talking
yeah. talking to Chris over here, talking about chickens and keeping them.
but no, I believe.
Yeah. Hey, what's up, Fraser? Yeah, so bull or bearish on Nvidia. I think Nvidia's technology will make it strong. I think regardless of what happens, I think if lockdowns, more people play video games, you know. And
Well,
so
they're evolving.
the problem with Nvidia is shipping problems, I believe. You know, I think shipping problems and the microchip shortage benefited Nvidia heavily. But now that shortage is no longer as evident in everything, then maybe they're not going to do as well. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Y'all do me a favor, hit the like button as well. Hit the notification bell. We certainly appreciate it. Danzo, yeah. I don't know. I think the Mpox thing is a little bit more scary than, or I think it's not as scary as they're making it out to be. You know, it's not like it's another C word. You know what I mean? It's less dangerous than that. So I don't know. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's not dangerous. I'm just saying it's more mild than the C word, you know.
Well, it seems like the spread is different.
Yeah.
And so it's
Well,
not
it's not just
easily
the spread.
Well, no, it's not as easily transmitted like air droplet, you know.
Yeah.
Just walking through and you get it on you or whatever. It doesn't,
Yeah.
from what it sounds like at least.
Yeah. I think Nvidia cards are super expensive. Am I right? In a recession, demand will fall. Yeah, well, the demand for everything falls in a recession for the most part, unless it's like safe havens, like gold, you know, silver, you know, fear products of some sort. You know, those things generally go up, but everything else falls. Yeah, Nvidia cards are the gold standard. It's what everybody uses. What my computer has. Nvidia may slow down because of crypto mining weaknesses, but their data center business is ramping up big time. Yeah, that makes sense. All right, guys, so Nvidia down to 169.50. I'm a little bit tempted to buy this up here. Now, I'm not really one to hold anything through earnings, but I think we've bounced off of support enough to where I can kind of take a little bitty trade here and just kind of poke around at this. Small size is fine, I think, in this situation. Are y'all buying Nvidia? Let me know. All right, take a little piece off. Oh, we ended up accidentally taking all of it off. I didn't really mean to. Man, I didn't mean to take all of it off. Oh well. And we'll move it up afterwards too. I didn't mean to buy it, but it's all right. We're green on the day. Honestly, I'm just happy to be green. Today was a crazy day. We ended up losing like $200 and then getting super frustrated, and then
John told me about it.
rebounding back. Somehow I came back from it. Honestly, what happened was like I kind of took it as an opportunity to test larger sizing strategies. Like I kind of traded the spread a little bit and like did some other stuff that I don't usually do, and I rebounded back, man. I took, if you can believe it, I actually took shorter term trades than I usually do, and I rebounded back, and so I made a few $100s just doing really short term trades. They will always be in demand as tech junkies will give their rights to. Yeah, for sure. Well, video games is such a huge niche and industry. So like, here's the hedge of that is that video games is such a big industry that like even if we get people staying home and like we get some type of thing, people are still going to be playing video games and they're still going to be playing specifically PC games. And with PC gaming, the demand for Nvidia is still going to be there because people are still going to be playing games and using computers regardless of anything else. Now they're going to be willing to purchase less. They're going to have less money to purchase things, especially as inflation goes up and prices are going up. More higher inflation, higher credit card bills, higher mortgages, less spending, and so that'll affect it.
It's crazy at the grocery store right now, man. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Now with the kids home for the summer, because we're not putting them in a camp or anything right now, because we're kind of just
they're all just
flying by
home.
the seat of our pants this summer as far as our plans, but they're home, and it's cheaper to ultimately buy from the store and eat at home, right?
Yeah.
But the grocery store is so expensive right now just to like feed the house. Like it's
Yeah, somebody asked, are we watching Snowflake and what was the other one? Box earnings. Yeah, we'll be paying attention to them at least. They drop in about 30 minutes, and so we'll at least be watching them. We're also going to be covering the Nvidia earnings call as well, but we'll be covering all the major earnings that are released today, including those. Redbox ripping up. Yeah, Redbox up to 670s, man. Redbox has been on one of the biggest short squeezes. Look, Redbox has a stock.
Yeah, I believe it.
And it's flying, man. Look at this. Look how bullish Redbox is.
How
because
it's on Prime.
It's simple because overall company health is insignificant. This is not good fundamentals. This is not good fundamentals. What this is short squeezes in retail. Short squeezes in retail. That's what this is. And so fundamentals of Redbox. I mean, Redbox might be a failing, obsolete brand that doesn't really do anything because everything movie-wise is purchased through streaming. And they're going to have some business from people basically out in the middle of nowhere that can't stream or have internet for streaming. But like that's becoming less and less as time goes on, especially with like SpaceX. And not SpaceX, especially with like, what's Elon Musk's internet? Starlink. Especially with Starlink now, people aren't going to need these type of streaming services anymore, and they're not going to rent them and they're not going to use them. But it doesn't matter because what's going on with Redbox is more so a short squeeze. Redbox is highly shorted, one of the highest shorted stocks in the market, if I can remember correctly. If we look at Redbox here, Redbox is shorted 20 to 40%, so highly shorted. And when we move up, every time this thing moves higher and breaks highs that people don't think it'll break, more shorts have to cover. When more shorts cover, they have to buy the shares back, and in turn it pushes it up higher and higher and higher. And like that's what this is. Same thing that happened to GameStop, just in a much smaller way. It is same thing happened with GameStop in a huge way, but this is a much smaller version of that. But that's the reason Redbox is ripping. It's just retail getting hyped up about it as well, to be honest. I agree. Long-term, Nvidia is arguably the best company in the world. Short-term, they face headwinds. Yeah. Could you move the mic to the middle? Sorry, Jetty. I'll do my best. Are y'all buying Redbox? Let me know. Video games may be a small part if they can capture the EV market and get some big contracts. Yeah, for sure. EV is the big market right now with Tesla and NIO with Rivian and Mullen and all the other EV makers.
Yeah, that's what they're pushing for.
Yeah. Starlink is a scam? Okay, explain why. I appreciate the $2 though, Soul, and all good, brother. All good, man. But in what way? I think my friend has... all I know, I'm not saying it's not. All I know is that I've been playing... My best friend in the world plays video games with me. And for the last 10 years, his internet sucks. He lives in Clinton, Louisiana, and his internet is freaking horrible. He hasn't been able to play Halo. He hasn't been able to play Overwatch. He hasn't been able to play anything with us because his internet is freaking horrible. Carol plays Xbox with us. She knows. And now he has Starlink, and his internet's great. His internet's great. He's running like 10 megabits per second. He got it like 6 months ago. And he hadn't had an internet problem since. And so I don't think it's a scam. I think that I think it might be a niche market. I think most people are going to be able to just get basic internet. But to be honest, I might use Starlink. If Starlink was good enough to manage this stream, I would definitely get it. Do we chase Redbox in this scenario? I don't know. $7, man. I don't know. $7 might be a resistance level. I really don't know. So you're leaving Australia. When do earnings come out? Earnings come out in about 25, 30 minutes. Yeah, but everything is... Yeah, the internet in Clinton is bad, bro. It's like one of the most country towns. And technically, it's not Clinton. He's in Ethel, Louisiana. Yeah, it's Ethel.
I never like driving out because the roads, it's like you got 2 lanes, and then you got like a ditch on each side, and then trees. So it's like... There's nowhere to go if something bad happens.
Yeah.
And then you have driveways, which is like you have the ditch, but then there's like the tube that goes under the driveway, but then it's like another embankment. So if you had to go off, you would run into that in the ditch.
Yeah.
So it's...
Short float on Redbox is 20 to 40%. Redbox up to 680, 690s. Nvidia starting to break down.
And there's all the big trucks on the road.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess that's any country, kind of country town.
Yeah.
Outside of a major city. Here, I'll be right back.
Nvidia? I don't think it matters either way, beat or not. Yeah. Starlink's dope, man. So Nvidia break it down to 169s. 169s for Nvidia. Redbox at 680s. Again, let me know if y'all are voting. Bull or bear on Nvidia. 65 votes, 62% are bullish, 38% are bearish. All right, so Redbox is up to 680. Still squeezing up here. Here's the SPY itself. SPY is pulling down to 398s. You know, we're green on the day. Small green, but green nonetheless. And I'm a little bit tempted to buy this dip. I got about 25 minutes left where I could trade. We're going to buy this. 20 shares. Trading small. What is that? What is that, man? Look at this.
It's these little fruits I found at the store in the tropical section.
Look at this.
Yeah,
Somebody
you cut it
explain
open.
this.
Look, this is what you do.
Somebody explain this to me.
Ready? Oh shoot! Here, I need to cut this on something. I need to get like a.
All right, guys. So we're dropping in the market in the SPY. We're in Nvidia. I don't know how to do this thing, man. What is this? Carol busting out some crazy looking fruit. Ooh. All right, market correcting pretty quickly here. We're not going to hold on to this. It's a dragon fruit. Yeah, I think that's what it is. That sounds right. Chat, help me out. What is this fruit? Yeah, we're just going to cut that. We're not going to give back all the money we made. Might have got it faked out there. Maybe we'll buy it back. Ah, maybe we did get faked out there. SPY ripping back up here, bouncing back up. Dragon fruit. Yeah, I think it's dragon fruit. I don't know where Carol went, man. I don't know how to eat this thing, dude. Should I just eat it like this? Should I just bite into it? I don't know, my hands are kind of big. Mystery or fruit juice. Hey, dude, that sounds like a channel idea, bro. Watch John eat foods he's never heard of. See what happens. You know, have to charge people for that, man. Take like a membership subscription fee or something. All right, so I got completely faked out on that Nvidia trade, but it's okay because we're still green on the day. Problem with U.S. growth stocks is many are still priced excessively, huge downside risks. Yeah, I mean, I tend to believe that. Here's one I do like, though, is Disney. I think Disney has got some good potential. It's to the point where it's like, okay, I got this $30,000 account. This is seriously something that I consider, right? Like, okay, I got this $30,000 account, right? I have this $30,000 account. I got about 120,000 in BP, right? About 120K in buying power, right? I can either trade this like I normally do, or I can get the same thing done in futures. I could trade futures the same exact way for much cheaper, you know, with less buying power. And so it's like, part of me wants to just take this 30K and like throw it into some other stocks and swing trade with this 30K and then day trade in futures and get really good large size swing trade and day trading content. Day trade futures, swing trade with this 30K. What do you guys think? I mean, I'm probably going to keep trading it, but still.
Cut it in half.
Right, exactly, Chris. That's the idea. What is this? Is this a dragon fruit?
No, it's not.
What is this?
It's like a. Starts with a K. I really.
Look, we got some. We got a few different suggestions. Is this it right here?
Yep, that's it.
A rambutan? Is that right?
Oh, it wasn't a K. That was it.
Yeah. All right, rambutan.
Rambutan.
Oh, rambutan. Okay, I got you. Say less. Now I got it. The outer shell peels off like an orange, but easier than there's a pit like a peach. Got you.
It's got the pit in it. And you gotta eat around the pit. I tried giving you.
That's what she said. We've been watching The Office, so I had to do it.
Eat around the pit. I tried giving you one last night. That's what she said.
There's not enough substance to this.
There's
no substance to it. It's a lot of work for like nothing. You know, it's like a lot of work peeling and getting it ready, and then it's like
Not really. Look.
it's like an equivalent of like a sunflower seed fruit. You know, it's like you do it, and then you get all this work done, and then you get like a little wimpy sunflower seed. You know.
This is the wrong knife. Look, so you just cut it in half. Cut it in half. Cut it in half, and then you just kind of pull it up one time. And you just eat around the outside is good.
I still agree. A lot of work, not much reward for the work. All right, market's dipping down. Nvidia down to 168. Disney looks pretty strong. It's still around 100. Here's the SPY itself. SPY is currently at 397.70s.
Don't hit into the mic.
Right, you burn more calories trying to open it. What do y'all think about the futures thing? Should I take this 30K and just throw it at swing trading and investing, and then day trade a futures account so that I can have kind of the best of both worlds? I can use a lot of money in swing trading and investing, but also still day trade in futures, which is basically the same thing of what I'm doing now when I trade the SPY. Or should I keep day trading like I am? I mean, I'm making money, but like... Yeah, you burn calories trying to open it. I know. That's how I feel.
Look,
Over here. SPY bouncing up. SPY up to 398s. What is that?
these are like the cheese crisps.
I'm not like super hungry. I'll eat grapes.
Sorry, I got hungry.
Uh,
I got hungry.
All right, Nvidia up to 169s. Let's see if it holds up here. You know, Nvidia ramping up though. Right around 169s. Let's see if it breaks 170. The SPY just dipped at 398s. Let's see if it holds over this. So the SPY is still trying here. You can see the SPY. It's right around 397s, 398s. SPUU is a great ETF with a nice dividend. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I just feel like I could day trade the futures market and get the same thing done that I'm doing now, and then put that money towards like investing. Part of me wants to throw it all on Disney right now.
Let me pull up this.
All right, here's Disney. All right. Here's Disney over like a year's period. Is Disney really going to fail? I think not.
Probably not.
I think not. Right? So throw in 20,000 on Disney, and if it goes up 40%, making, 4,000 or making 8,000, seems like a reasonable strategy right now. Disney got absolutely destroyed, and of course it could drop more, but it's one of those things where if it does drop more, I'm just going to hold it because Disney's not going to go out of business. Disney owns ESPN, Disney Plus, obviously, Star Wars, Marvel. Disney's going to be fine. And as more superhero and Star Wars movies come out, Disney is only going to have more bullish and renewed optimism. And so to me, Disney seems oversold. It seems like one of the better longer term holdings. Like if you hold it for like a year plus, probably going to make some money on Disney. Now, of course, I'm not an investment professional. I have no idea. But like to me, it seems logical. Let me know what you guys think. I mean, it seems logical to me. I don't think the downside is going to be huge. I don't think I'm going to lose a bunch of money. And so part of me wants to just take this money and throw it at Disney. What do you guys think, though? Let me know.
Some Gouda with bacon. It's Gouda cheese with bacon bits in it. Yeah, Disney's probably not gonna
What do you guys think? Do y'all like that idea? I might do it. Honestly, I might do it.
Yeah. Yeah, they had a bunch of these at the store.
That's good.
I like trying new fruit.
Oh.
Trying new stuff. Just sometimes I'll get things if it's not a fruit that I'm really like. I can pick a really good watermelon, like really sweet and like ripe watermelon, but like sometimes I'm unfamiliar with it and I'll get it and it's just, if I don't, you know.
Paul says Disney. I mean, honestly, but yeah, one thing I don't do though is I don't let my political views impact my trade decisions. If you do, you're going to be missing out on money. All right, Pixar. Even still, though, like, here's the thing. SWC says Disney doesn't like Disney. Reality is, people let their opinion of Disney impact their analysis of Disney, and there's a difference. You know, people take their moral view of Disney and they let that impact their trade decisions. I don't care about what Disney does. I think Disney's about to make money. I think Disney is already a money-making machine that owns a ton of huge media assets, including Pixar, Star Wars, Marvel, ESPN. And I think that regardless of anybody's take on it, I think Disney's going to be fine long term. You know, it just makes too much money. You know. Do you think things like Disney Plus is the future subscription-based TV? I don't know about that. Yeah, that's 100% the future. It's going to be a mix of the future of media is YouTube and places like it. And that's a huge part of it. And streaming, 100%. You know, TV channels will be a thing of the past.
Yeah, subscriptions, I think, are going to stay. They're going to be around for a while.
Yeah, subscription services to where they are a database of other movies that they didn't make, plus ones that they produce themselves, i.e. Amazon Prime, Netflix, stuff like that. I think that's the future. It's clearly the future. And I think Disney has their own network. Disney Plus grew 30% year over year. All right, guys. So yeah, Nvidia down to 168.70s. If we look at the SPY, earnings are going to be dropping in about 12 minutes. 12 minutes for earnings to report. We're at about 397.40s for the SPY, 397.40s. And let me know if you guys like this. Like I said, if we get a bunch of people show up here every day, I'll do something like this every day, where we can kind of stream all day. We streamed the Fed meeting, we streamed earnings, we're streaming Power Hour, After Hours. We could do it. Like, I could do it.
They have an entire empire.
No, I think the latest Spider-Man was huge. Why not? And so I think Marvel's got a big, obvious history as well. I think it's huge. You know, Star Wars is a little bit less certain. I think Star Wars. I think Solo, after Solo came out with disappointing reviews, that Disney is a little bit more skeptical of Star Wars' future. But I think ESPN will be fine. I think ESPN will be fine, and I think Marvel will be fine as well. All right, 11 minutes, and then Nvidia numbers come out.
Yeah, and I think chances are Disney will continue to acquire other.
Yeah, Disney's going to keep buying up other media platforms easily. They're obviously going to keep acquiring them. I just think it's a good long-term bet. It's down so much already. Again, of course, not an investment professional, no idea. But yeah, I think Disney will be fine. All right, look at the Nvidia drop. SPY just dropped pretty big here, down to 396.50. That's a big order coming through. Let me see if we can figure out a reason why. But look at that drop. SPY just dropped heavily here. The earnings are going to be released in 10 minutes, Invictus, in 10 minutes. So just stick around. We're gonna drop the earnings, and then we're gonna actually cover the earnings call as well. So we're gonna do both. Yeah, one of the reasons I think YouTube will be huge, Google's going to be strong, is because they own enough. They have created an economy of things in tech with Google. Google is connected in every facet to your tech needs and uses, right? And so Google's going to be fine, and with that, YouTube will be fine as well, which is good for me, to be honest. But other social medias, I think, are less certain, and I think they're more vulnerable because social medias have about a 10-year log. They've got about like a 10-year log of like, they've got about a 10-year lifespan. MySpace, Facebook, and then Facebook. After Facebook was Instagram, and then after Instagram was like Vine and short form media, and then after Vine and short form media spawned TikTok, and like that was the kind of evolution of social medias where you had MySpace. MySpace got taken over by, or MySpace got basically beat by Facebook. Facebook got acquired Instagram, and so Instagram and short form media. And then after Instagram became Vine, and then Vine got bought out, but short form media trended well, and so after that TikTok. But media on YouTube is going to be valuable regardless because it's just longer form.
Yeah. That's a trend at least, huh?
Mm-hmm.
And especially with the younger kids, like I know our daughter has told us how her friends have TikToks and like.
No, my daughter has argued with me and said that she can't admit that she watches YouTube or she'll get made fun of. I told her, I was like, look, these kids might make fun of you, but like they're not really thinking about it. Like if you want to watch something that's past 10 seconds, what are you going to watch? You're going to watch freaking YouTube. YouTube is obviously what you're going to watch. You're not going to watch TikTok. You can't learn anything in 10 minutes. Or in 10 seconds. The only thing that 10-second video format does is destroy your attention span.
Yeah.
That's all it does. If people want to watch actual educational content, they're going to watch YouTube. Clearly.
Yeah, because there's like full format documentary or whatever, you could find it there versus.
Yeah, but Danzo said Facebook owns Instagram though, and WhatsApp and Oculus. Yes, they do. But as an affiliate myself, like I work with a lot of companies, and the previous method that they used to get in touch with me was on WhatsApp. Now I haven't used WhatsApp in years. Now it's all through Telegram. And so Facebook and WhatsApp fell off Facebook fell off partly because WhatsApp is no longer as relevant. People don't use WhatsApp anymore. It's mostly Telegram now. Telegram is how my affiliate and sponsors reach out to me and how I communicate with them. It used to be WhatsApp. It's no longer that. It's now Telegram. VR will be big, but they've got some kinks to work out. Specifically, they have to work out how people can use them without getting nauseous. Because my biggest issue is nausea. I bought both of my kids an Oculus set for Christmas. Both of my kids. I got each of them one, hoping that they would play it together and get into it. They might have played those things once or twice, never touched them again. And so the reasoning was that they get nauseous behind it. And so I think they need to fix that. Same thing with me. I can't play it because I get nauseous. And so they need to fix that first.
Yeah, I remember that. And you can't play them too long without getting headaches because it's so, plus the visual thing. Yeah, I remember that. We tried playing it, and the kids, they wanted to play it, but they were just like, after a few minutes of it, they were just...
Hey, thank you, Soul. Soul said, my economical views impact my decisions. I had a feeling the market would push today, but the economy has nowhere but down eventually. So I didn't trade. Yeah, I mean, it's probably not a bad move. The market itself, I mean, if we look at the SPY, thank you, number one, for that $5 donation, Soul. I really appreciate it. Number two is that the market's been mostly sideways up into the Fed minutes meeting. Up into the Fed minutes meeting, the market was slightly bullish, slightly green, but mostly sideways. After the Fed minutes meeting, we've been trending mostly up and bullish, and the market closes in 5 minutes as well. And so after the Fed meeting, we've been mostly bullish. But yeah, that's kind of what's going on, is that it's been a choppy market. It's probably for the best. But I appreciate the $5, bro. Yeah, I never ran into anything, but I got close to it.
Yeah. I think one of the kids got whacked because they walked around.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is good, huh?
Bullish or bearish on Nvidia earnings, guys? The report's going to come out in 5 minutes. 5 minutes. And I hope this is good. If this is good, then we're setting ourselves up for a nice bull run in the market. If these earnings are good, then we're setting ourselves up for a bullish run in the market. Hopefully it's good. You know, the market's green today. If Nvidia drops good earnings, Nvidia's got a big cap. Nvidia's a big company. So like if we look at Nvidia here, Nvidia has a market cap of $400+ billion, $404 billion. So this is a huge company for Nvidia. So if they have good earnings, this will positively impact the market, especially like the Q, the more tech heavy Q and stuff like that. Like that'll certainly do well if Nvidia does well. And so right now we're just kind of waiting to see that report drop. It comes out in about 4 minutes and we're going to cover it live on this channel. And so be sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell if you haven't already. And yeah, we'll keep dropping this. And we'll let you know. Let me know again. Vote on the poll right now. So far on the poll, 60+% of people are Nvidia bullish. 39% of people are bearish on Nvidia. So mostly bullish. I think their graphics cards are going to do well, and I'm pretty bullish on Nvidia as well. You can see Nvidia actually leading the market a little bit leading into the earnings. So the market actually just dipped here, and Nvidia ramped up. So Nvidia is leading the market some ahead of earnings. So Nvidia leading the market a little bit ahead of earnings. Vote on the poll right now. It's the blue box on the screen. Yeah, Nvidia does for sure. Just a huge company. All right, guys, waiting for the numbers. 3 minutes. Got these spammers. All right, guys, so Nvidia dipping down. I see 169.50 as a support level. We got about 2 minutes before the earnings drop. All right, guys, Nvidia earnings dropping in 2 minutes. In 2 minutes. Usually the earnings drop out. I'm not saying it'll for certain be in 2 minutes. What I'm saying though is that generally speaking, when companies announce and set times that they're going to release their earnings report, it usually is in between 4 and 4:20. Everybody's favorite number. And so it's usually between 4 and 4:20. And with that, that's when I'm expecting earnings to drop. And that's what we're getting prepared for here. We got about a minute left. A minute left. Would you rather own Nvidia, AMD, or both? Nvidia, easily Nvidia. I think AMD might have more potential upside just because it's big, but I think Nvidia is much safer long-term than AMD is. I think AMD is still behind Intel in its niche, and Nvidia is the king of its niche, and so I don't know. More potential upside with AMD, but I think Nvidia would be safer, less vulnerable to competition and such, you know. But let me know what you guys think, Nvidia or AMD. Also, y'all hit that subscribe button. We've had somebody attacking the channel and kind of sending spam messages. And so sometimes we have to put it in subscriber only mode. And so with that, if you sub now, you'll be able to participate even if we're even if he attacks the channel, you'll still be able to participate in sub only mode. And so subscribe now, make sure not to miss it. Hit the notification bell as well. All right, guys, so there's the closing bell. The earnings should be released anytime soon. You can see Nvidia on the left side here. Nvidia on the left side. Let's see what happens, guys. Let me know if you're bullish or bearish. Vote on the poll right now. We got 134 votes. About 64% are bullish on Nvidia pre-earnings. 36% are bearish. Let me know what you see. We got Nvidia breaking down to 169.50. And yeah, we'll see what happens, guys. All right, Nvidia dropping a little bit after the bell, down to 169.18s here. 169.18s. Waiting to see when their numbers are going to drop. Nvidia mostly break even now, getting a little bit of a bump. Big volume though. Are these numbers out? It's up to 1.75 million here for Nvidia, up to 171s. It looks like the numbers are out, but I'm not seeing anything yet. Not seeing anything yet. If you get the numbers, let me know, because we're waiting to report them here. Nvidia is up to 170.2. Nothing showing yet though. I don't think the numbers are out. All right, we got about 245 people here. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, guys. Like I said, if we do have to put it in sub-only mode, you'll be able to participate even if we are. So hit the sub button, guys. Nvidia mostly sideways so far in after hours. Mostly sideways. SPY up to 398s. 398s. Yeah, I mean, big volume at the close, but nothing yet for Nvidia. Still waiting on the numbers to drop, guys. Again, let me know what you guys see. Nothing yet is posting for Nvidia, so nothing is out yet. Just waiting. Checking 2 different sources here. Now remember, this is first quarter results. Last time it gapped down 6%, I think, even though it was positive earnings last time. So right now we're at 169.70, right around 170 for Nvidia. Again, vote in the poll. Let me know if you're bullish or bearish on these numbers here. We got about 340, 360 here, so hit that subscribe button, guys. Earnings beat or bust? I gotta say it's an earnings beat. I would assume it's going to be an earnings beat. You know, I think Nvidia does, generally speaking, better than expected most of the time.
Why don't you pull that up right here?
With the chat.
You can pull up the news.
Yeah. Nothing out yet. All right, Nvidia up to almost 171s. Guidance is the key. Yeah, for sure, JMK, 100%, man. Guidance will be key point for sure. Beat bad guidance. AMD beat only right for Nvidia too. Earnings will beat forward, will be a bust. Let us know, guys. Again, hit the subscribe button. So if we have to go into sub-only mode, you'll still be able to participate. So hit the sub button, guys, if you haven't already. Numbers are usually going to drop, you know, sometime between now and 4:20, 4:30 is usually when they drop. So sometime in the next 25 minutes is usually when it's going to happen. Not saying anything yet for Nvidia. Seeing some big call orders come through from Benzinga, showing us kind of some option alerts.
So Nvidia, these guys rely highly, I guess, on the ability to export elements that they use in their chips, like precious metals, stuff like that. Yeah. I mean, their margins are affected by the cost of precious metals, sure, because their margins are, you know, going to be affected by metal increase or decreases. Well, what I'm saying is,
170.50 after market. Looking at GameStop. No, GameStop is flying up today. So GameStop put some crazy moves on the books, up to 116. So AMC flew up too. Redbox ripped up too. At 170.50 for Nvidia. 170.50. Again, let me know if you're bullish or bearish on this. Here's Nvidia over the last year. Here's Nvidia's yearly chart. So we'll see. We got a little bit over 500 people here, guys. So hey, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already.
couple increments.
Yeah, for sure. AMD increased and Nvidia outsells in the server industry, and they also do in the consumer GFX. Almost everything I'm following is green today. Yeah, after the Fed minutes meeting, and again, the Fed minutes meeting, I've said this a bunch of times just so people can understand, but the Fed minutes meeting, what happens is every 6 weeks, the Fed meets for its decision meeting to decision on its decision on whether to increase or lower or keep the same interest rates. Right. And so the Fed meets every 6 weeks to determine whether they want to raise or lower or whatever interest rates. All right, big drop in Nvidia down to 169.50. I don't see anything out yet. But yeah, the Fed meets every 6 weeks. And then after the meeting, like this last meeting was May 3rd and 4th. After the meeting, a few weeks later, they report what's called the Fed minutes, which is kind of like an explanation on why they chose to make the decisions that they made weeks prior to that in the Fed meeting. Right. And so the Fed meeting that the minutes went over today was from the 3rd and 4th of May, and the market mostly reacted positively to that. Nvidia down to 169s. So Nvidia down to 169s. And so yeah, the market mostly reacted positively to that. And with that, you can see the SPY itself. This white arrow right here is when the Fed minutes meeting happened. And then you can see we've mostly moved up from it back up to like 399s. Dropped down to 168.70s. I don't see any numbers actually out yet for Nvidia though. But Nvidia did drop about 1% just now. So still waiting on the numbers here. All right, so here's, oh no, Snowflake just dropped their numbers. So we do have Snowflake's numbers. No Nvidia numbers yet. But if you want to see some other stuff that's dropping some numbers, here's Snowflake. And Snowflake did just drop some numbers. These are them right here.
Wow.
Snowflake put in a first quarter EPS of 53-cent loss per share. Snowflake doesn't compare to the 1 cent profit per share estimate, sales of 422.37 million versus the 412 million estimate. So Snowflake had mixed results, worse than expected EPS, so worse than expected profitability, but higher than expected sales. So it had 422 sales, expected 412. Nvidia is still dropping. I don't see the numbers out, so Nvidia didn't drop anything yet. Numbers aren't out yet. Reports not out yet, but Snowflake had worse than expected numbers, and it's dipping pretty heavily from this. Yeah, guidance is what's going to be the most important thing for sure. 100%. Absolutely agree. But yeah, so Snowflake saw these numbers right here. And you can see they're tanking here. Nvidia is just kind of sideways. I mean, it hasn't really done much. It dropped some down to 167, and then it's right back up to 168. So nothing yet. Just kind of waiting on the Nvidia numbers. We got a little bit over 600 people here, guys. So I appreciate the support. Y'all keep hitting that subscribe button. Again, we've had a spammer that sent nonsense to us, and sometimes we have to put it in subscribe only mode. So subscribing now will make it so you can participate if that happens, and we appreciate the love and support. Remember, we day trade 120,000 in buying power every weekday morning at the opening bell. We start at 6:30 stream till past 11 o'clock a lot of the time, and so hit that subscribe button, guys. Yeah, I think Nvidia could be dropping in some sympathy from Snow. That's certainly possible. Nvidia down to 168s. Snowflake had mixed results, but worse than expected profitability. Again, EPS is earnings per share. What it really is a gauge on how profitable the company is. And so with such a big miss for first quarter EPS, that's a big miss in terms of profitability. And so Snowflake was less profitable than they expected. And, by a lot, they expected 1 cent profit per share. They took 53-cent loss per share, so much higher than expected. Sales were better than expected, though, but by a smaller margin. And so with that, we have Snowflake dropping down. Still waiting on the Nvidia numbers. Nope, Nvidia numbers aren't out yet. Still waiting. It's about 4:10 right now, so we still got some time. Don't get fooled with earnings. Guidance is the most important. It's going to be bad. Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree that guidance is the most important thing for sure. But I don't know if it's going to be bad or not. I think Nvidia is pretty resilient in a lot of ways. And so I don't know. Let me know. Vote on the poll. Let us know, guys. I'm also assuming that the market is dropping too with all of this here. So yeah, market dip too. So market's dropping, probably following Snowflake down to a certain extent. AMD dropping with the market as well. Still nothing out yet for Nvidia. Still waiting here. Snowflake also dropped 2023 revenue guidance of 435 to 440 million versus a 466 million estimate. So guidance was worse for 2023 for Snowflake as well. A big guidance miss, not a big guidance miss, but it was a miss in terms of second quarter 2023 guidance for Snowflake. So worse than expected guidance there as well. They expected 435 to 440, and they showed they expected 466 in revenue for 2023. They instead showed 435 to 440. Fiscal year 23 revenue of 1.885 to 1.9, missed the 2.03 billion estimate. So yeah, bad guidance all the way around for Snowflake. Bad numbers, dropping heavily too, down to one Snowflake here. If we look at it, SNOW, it's down to 1/16, which is a big drop. Well, the earnings call is at 5 p.m. Eastern, Aaron, and we're actually going to stream that live as we always do. We usually stream the earnings call, so we're going to stream that live. But the actual earnings report should be released anytime now. You know, Snowflake just came out with their earnings, but still nothing for Nvidia yet, and we're just kind of waiting on that reaction. But the way it usually goes is like the earnings report will be released after 4 p.m. So like once the market closes, then the earnings report is released. After that, usually in between 4:30 and 5 p.m., the earnings call starts. And so the earnings call just reiterates basically what they said in the earnings report, but also gives guidance, which will impact the market as well. Micros. Hey, we got about almost 800 people here. So if you haven't yet, best looking trader in the world right now, hit the subscribe button. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. We certainly appreciate all the love and support, guys. We trade $120,000 in buying power live at the open every day. We don't sell anything. We don't charge for anything. We don't claim to be experts. We don't act like gurus. I just give everything away for free. I don't claim to be an expert. I'm just trying to be a resource in community. And so if you appreciate that, which is rare, hit the subscribe button. You know you want to. Should be out by 4:20. Yeah, we got about, I don't know. Usually I've seen them released late. I've seen them released early.
3:12 right now.
That's 4:12 market time.
Okay.
Yeah, so the market is open from 9:30 Eastern to 4
So
Eastern.
you're used to, like, every time you say the time, you're used to saying.
I adjust it to market time. Yeah, I'm in Texas, guys. So market opens up at 8:30 in the morning to me, closes at 3 p.m. So right now it's 3:12 where I am. I'm a pessimist in this market. Nah, I don't blame you. Market's been kind of crazy, bro. I can't even get mad at that. Market's just been hectic.
Yeah.
Snowflake rebounding a little bit. Again, Snowflake's numbers were mostly bad. Out of the 4 metrics that they posted, specifically EPS, revenue, second quarter 2023 revenue, fiscal year 2023 revenue, they were worse than expected in sales. So they posted fiscal year revenue, second quarter revenue, EPS, and sales. They were worse than expected in 3 out of those 4 categories for earnings, right? So Snowflake had worse than expected fiscal year 23 revenue, second quarter revenue, EPS, and they beat sales. So they had a little bit better than expected sales and worse everything else for Snowflake. And so that's kind of an analysis of what happened with Snowflake's 3 out of 4 of their metrics, they did worse than expected. They were what's called, Carol, for you, it's what's called an earnings miss. It means they missed expectations. They were worse than expected. If they're better than expected, it's called an earnings beat. It means they beat expectations. If they were the same, it's on par. On par with expectations, basically. Because it's not about the numbers that they put in, it's about what they expected, and it's relative to expectations. And so, they can be good or bad. They might lose $100 million and still go up when they drop earnings if they thought that they were going to lose 150 million, you know what I mean? And they only lost 100 million. So they might go up on something like that, even if they lose big, because it's not what they showed. It's not only what they show, it's also relative to expectations for everybody at home. Yeah, we're waiting for the Nvidia numbers. They're not out yet. Snowflake dropped it. I think that's affecting everything, but the Nvidia numbers just aren't out yet. So we don't have anything yet for everything else. We're just waiting here, and I'm going to report them as soon as they drop, trust me, and we're going to stream the earnings call that starts in 45 minutes. But right now we're waiting for the numbers to come out. Again, vote on the poll right now. Let me know if you're bullish or bearish. We got about 500 votes on the poll. A little bit over 500 votes. So about 70% of you are bullish on the Nvidia earnings. 32% are bearish. And yeah, hit that subscribe button, guys, if you haven't already. No, so they're going to show up at the top here when they drop.
Yeah.
So they're going to show up at the top. It's not just that. Yeah, I actually saw a Polestar the other day. by Trader Joe's. I actually saw a Polestar. I thought about GGPI.
I'm gonna grab a drink.
All right. I'm so confused. AMD crushed their earnings, so figured Nvidia would too, but with them freezing hiring, it's giving some concern. They may meet expectations but lower guidance. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I who knows, man? I'm a huge Nvidia bull. Like, somebody asked me AMD or Nvidia earlier, and the reason I would prefer Nvidia is because I think AMD and Intel are kind of competitive and kind of neck and neck. I think Intel's a little bit stronger than AMD, even though I think AMD's the better technology, at least it was. Intel's kind of catching up. Regardless of that, though, I'm more confident in Nvidia relative to competition. I think Nvidia is just a much safer stock. It's less vulnerable to competition. It's the main brand in that category, and I think it's just safer long term. Regardless of what it does in this earnings report. That's my general view on Nvidia. Huge Nvidia bull, but let me know what you guys think. Yeah, bro, you remember that Khalil? He said, "Oh man, I haven't seen you since I started trading. When started nice seeing you again. I remember you used to day trade." Yeah, AMD was my stock, bro. I would trade AMD every day, and I would kill it with AMD. I've kind of scaled up my account size now, though, bro. I trade 30,000 with 120,000 in buying power every morning on Thinkorswim. And so I usually just buy the SPY directly. I buy, a few hundred shares of the SPY directly now. So I trade a little bit larger now. Kind of leveled up a little bit, if you will. But good to see you, Khalil. Happy to see you, bro. Yeah. Snowflake, bad numbers. Snowflake was worse than expected in everything but one. It had a sales beat, but everything else was a miss in terms of earnings. And so it's drastically affecting everything in tech for the most part right now. Yeah, but when I used to trade AMD was at like $40 a share, $50 a share. Now, man, I wish I could get that price. Oh, those are good. All right, still waiting for the Nvidia numbers here. Nothing out yet. Just waiting on these numbers to drop. All right, guys, Nvidia down to 165.20, still dropping 165s now. Snowflake testing lows, and I'm sure the SPY is down with it. All right, guys, Nvidia popping up to 166 is here, rebounding from low tests. Almost 1,000 people here. We're gonna view the earnings live. Well, you're gonna review them here. We're gonna review them as soon as they drop. As soon as they come out, we're going to talk about the earnings, but we're still waiting. Nvidia bouncing back up to 166.50s here. Why not trade SPY options? Because the way I scalp, it's just less liquid. Like, if you want to see how much I really trade, like, look. I'm just going to show you guys this real quickly. So you can see how much I truly trade, because I've tried scalping options. I just don't do that well. I get more slippage scalping options. Let me see if I can get it to show up. Yeah. So, like, this is how much I trade. So we trade very actively. Kind of a tough few days, but like, yeah, we trade very, very actively, And so with options, I just can't scalp. I can't scalp as liquid as I can in stocks. And so, with that, we stick to stocks. I got a large enough account now to where I can just kind of go ahead and day trade it like that. But yeah. Futures is another way to do it. Yeah. Yeah. I should do a giveaway if somebody can tell me what the name of this is.
We just did this. is.
I know, but now we got 1,000 people here, so we should do it now. Nvidia, hey, no, the earnings aren't out yet, guys. We're just waiting. Snowflake released bad numbers. Again, Snowflake dropped first quarter EPS of 53-cent per share loss. They expected 1 cent per share profit. And so much worse than expected there for Snowflake in terms of EPS. Way worse than expected EPSs. And so if you want to know why the market and tech is down heavily, Snowflake dropped way worse than expected EPS. Sales beat. 422 is what they showed. They expected 412. All right, big drop in Nvidia earnings. The numbers are just dropped. The Nvidia numbers are out. And we're going to report on that as soon as we get in here. So Nvidia numbers are out. Huge drop. Nvidia dropped first quarter net of 1.62 billion. First quarter adjusted EPS of 136 per share. First quarter EPS of 64 cents. And first quarter revenue of 8.29 billion for Nvidia. So Nvidia did just drop these numbers. Big numbers for Nvidia. Or big loss for Nvidia just now on these numbers being released here. And yeah, just big drop from these numbers here. Again, we just read the numbers. First quarter net of 1.62 billion. First quarter adjusted EPS. All right, we're going to report this here. We're going to drop these numbers in chat so you guys can see them. Nvidia. Oh, man, hold on. All right, here it is. All right, so Nvidia shell first quarter. Here, there we go. Sorry, guys, getting everything ready so I can report it. Here's the numbers according to Benzinga. Nvidia showed first quarter EPS of 116, missed the 129 estimate. Sales of 8.29 billion, beat the 8.12 billion estimate. And so better than expected sales, worse than expected EPS. Not a huge loss, though, in terms of EPS. Yeah, so we're going to drop the rest of these here as well. Yeah, I'm showing it. They saw second quarter sales of 8.1 billion plus or minus 2% versus 8.45 billion estimate. So second quarter sales showed a little bit lower than expected here as well. So worse than expected numbers on a few different fronts, unfortunately. Dropping the rest of these here as well. Let's see. And then they also said on the board, they also dropped some other news here. So again, Nvidia saw first quarter adjusted EPS of 116 cent profit per share, missed the 129 estimate. Sales of 8.29 billion, beat the 8.12 billion estimate. Quarterly earnings of 116 per share, missed the 1.2. Nvidia saw second quarter sales of 8.1 plus or minus 2% versus 8.45 billion estimate. So also we have this other report here. Nvidia said that on May 23rd, increased and extended buyback program, repurchase additional common stock of up to a total of 15 billion through December of 2023. And so they announced the buyback program as well. So again, here's they said the board on May 23rd increased and extended the buyback program to repurchase additional common stock up to a total of 15 billion through December 2023. And these are all getting reported from Benzinga as well. And so, yeah, earnings miss most of the way around for Nvidia. Dropped pretty heavily from these results. Still reading everything else, guys, so just give me a second. See if we can find the full report and delve into it a little bit deeper here so people can understand. All right, GAAP earnings per diluted share for the quarter were 64 cents, down 16% year over year, and down 46% from the previous quarter. And include an after-tax impact of 52-cent profit related to the 1.35 billion ARM acquisition termination charge. They said, quote, "We delivered record results in data center and gaming against the backdrop of a challenging macro environment." And that was said by Jensen Huang, the founder and CEO of Nvidia. He said, quote, "The effectiveness of deep learning to automate intelligence is driving companies across industries to adopt Nvidia for AI computing. Data center has become our largest platform, even as gaming achieved a record quarter. We are gearing up for the largest wave of new products in our history, with new GPU, CPU, DPU, and robotic processors ramping in the second half, and our new chips and systems will greatly advance AI, graphics, omniverse, self-driving cars, and robotics, as well as the many industries these technologies impact," he said, end quote. And so, yeah, so first quarter adjusted EPS of 136 per share. During the first quarter of fiscal 2023, Nvidia returned to shareholders $2.1 billion in share repurchases and cash dividends. The board of directors increased and extended the company's share repurchase program to repurchase an additional $15 billion through December 2023 of common stock. They will pay its next quarterly cash dividend of 4 cents per share on July 1st of this year. As to all shareholders that get in before June 9th, basically. So yeah, those are the numbers. And yeah, so not good for the market. I mean, let's see how the market's reacting. Snowflake had bad numbers as well. And of course, the market's dipping back, giving back some of its gains that it made from the Fed meeting. So yeah. Anything about guidance? No, she doesn't talk. She's a mute. Yeah.
And I'm actually not blonde.
You're kind of blonde. You're like dirty blonde, kind of like
Cool.
middle range blonde, kind of.
No, I'm learning, and it's easier for me to just kind of watch John do his thing because he's far more well versed in all of this. So it's easier for me just to watch and try to take as much of it in as I can. So.
Bullish or bearish on Nvidia now, guys, after these earnings? I feel like people are probably mad Nvidia did bad. And yeah, Nvidia down to 153. So we'll see if it holds. I think 150 is a big level, psychological level that we can pay attention to. Go out.
Mm-hmm.
How far? How far out?
No, that's good. I just wanted to.
Yeah, this was the day. Here's the thing though, like most large cap stocks are going to follow the broader stock market, right? So you can see we had kind of like a choppy bullish day, but like mostly sideways. And if you look at the SPY and zoom out, you see the same thing here with like the SPY itself, like mostly sideways, choppy day.
Yeah.
You know, and so like that's kind of how it goes. And that's the same with this. Nvidia is going to follow tech for the most part, and tech's going to follow Nvidia. It's kind of back and forth. Bull. All good, pawn. All good, brother. Nah, man, she's learning here. She's learning. Carol's helping me report news. Carol eventually is going to take over and do these earnings reports, you know, to a certain extent. And so with that, she's got to learn how to do them. And I'm showing her. Y'all will be all right.
Yeah.
You know, we still got 940 people here. Listen, if you want to leave, go ahead. We still got 900 plus people here. So, yeah, Nvidia down. First quarter adjusted EPS, which is earnings per share. EPS is a gauge on how profitable the company is. And so a little bit worse than expected EPS means the company wasn't quite as profitable as they had expected. Not quite as profitable as their expectations. We do have the actual earnings call, which is going to be in about 30 minutes. Yeah, bring up the Prodigy Jack. I use Thinkorswim lately. Max. Yeah, my son's all about Minecraft mods. Yeah. He's been bugging me for like 3 months now. He's like, I want mods in Minecraft. And like, I don't know what he thought mods were, but I researched it and I got him mods. Like I downloaded them. What's it called? Curse Forge. What's it called? It's called Curse Forge. Yeah, I downloaded them Curse Forge and I got them set up on Minecraft mods. I'm the coolest dad ever, bro. I got my son set up on Minecraft mods. And he played it for like a day, and now he's no longer into it anymore. I don't think he's quite old enough now to really understand.
Yeah, he's just now getting into like programming and stuff like that.
Yeah, and if you want the full earnings report, guys, I'm gonna drop that here as well, so you guys can see it. All right, so they said that quarterly OEM and other revenue decreased due to decline in cryptocurrency mining processor revenue, which was nominal in the quarter versus 155 million a year ago. So one of the reasons they're saying dropping in guidance is because of a decline in crypto mining processors in usages in those. So basically, Nvidia is dropping because some of the reasons for lower guidance, like lower expectations, is that they're expecting less demand for crypto miners, and with that, less demand for Nvidia chips because of that, if that makes sense. They did increase their buyback program by up to a total of 15 billion, which is good. Data center revenue was at 3.75 billion versus the consensus of 3.6 billion. So data center revenue was a little bit higher than expected. Gaming revenue was 3.62 billion versus the consensus of 3.54 billion. So gaming and data centers came in higher than expected in terms of numbers here for Nvidia. So again, data centers and mining, or data centers and gaming, showed a little bit higher than expectation in terms of first quarter revenue. And they also saw second quarter revenue of about 8.1 billion. Here, we'll put these numbers up here so people can actually see the full numbers. They also saw, again, second quarter revenue of about 8.1 billion plus or minus 2%, which includes 500 million related to the Russian war and the lockdowns as well.
Yeah, and I figured that would really
Yeah, the crypto drop
hasn't affected more, but I feel like as time goes on, all of that stuff will affect. You know.
Yeah, I mean, the crypto drop has drastically affected everything. You know, it affects tech as a whole because, you know, cryptocurrency is still in the state where a lot of it is proof of work concepts. So basically, you're mining it. When it says proof of work, it means that it's mined. So they trace it back to where it was mined and when. And so with the drops in crypto and the lack of optimism in cryptocurrency lately, I think that's going to influence, you know, Nvidia in ways that some people might not have thought initially that it would. A lot of people expected this, though. I mean, they understand how reliant crypto is to mining, and so in turn, you know, it's going to affect it as well. Yeah, I mean, Nvidia already back up to 158, so it looks good. It looks good. Like I said, 150 is a nice little support level, I think, if it can hold over that. If it can hold over that, that's great. Yeah, you know, Brandon, I'm the most humble trader in the world right now, bro. I don't think there's any trader that's more humble than I am, you know?
No.
Yeah, so
I mean,
the demand of most.
Really any other traders, but I doubt that he's the most humble.
Yeah.
He does good though.
Yeah, the 2023 revenue was 435 to 440 versus 466 for Snowflake. Yeah, the earnings are out. You can read them right here.
Yeah, we keep cycling these.
Yeah. Why don't EV car companies buy a Tesla and throw their logo on it? I mean, that's kind of what these EV companies look like at this point in time. They all look like little carbon copies of Teslas. No? At least for me, that's what they look like. You know what I mean?
When I had to go to the store yesterday, I saw they have like a lot of these stores are starting to put in electric vehicle parking and charging stations. And I saw one car pull up and I didn't recognize it. It wasn't a Tesla. It was some new, I mean, you could tell it was a new car, but I didn't recognize what the brand was. And it must have been an electric vehicle, but
yeah, wait, where? Where?
When I went to the store yesterday.
At Trader Joe's?
No.
Was it this? I bet you it was this. I saw it Polestar. All right, so Nvidia says quarterly OEM and other revenue decreases are due to a decline in crypto mining, which was nominal in quarter versus 155 mil a year ago. Now, their second quarter forecast missed expectations on Russia and China issues as well. First quarter adjusted EPS is 136 cent per share profit. And so, yeah, market's kind of reacting to this. We've honestly rebounded a lot here. I think if we can get back over 160, then we're pretty in nominal territory to where it's not going to affect everything huge. I mean, it's dragging the market down, but luckily the market had a pretty good reaction to the Fed minutes meeting that was earlier. So yeah, we'll see. But I'm going to find the actual report and give you guys this as well. All right, so there's 156. Let's see if we hold support there. Again, are y'all buying Nvidia on this dip? Let me know. Yeah, I mean, look. So here's a what's one of these? All right, so Nvidia.
Yeah, it looked kind of like this.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw one at Trader Joe's the other day. It's probably the same guy.
Was it like a kind of tan color?
Yeah,
It was.
I think so.
For real.
Yeah, I'm buying Nvidia when it gets to 120. At what price are you buying Nvidia? Also, vote on the poll, bullish or bearish on Nvidia after these earnings. Let's see if it holds 156. Yeah. Pre-pump. People, it was expected. Yeah, I mean, it's not really that bad of a dip either. Not relative to some of the drops we've had in the market lately. You know, under 150 is a buy for me. I think people are dreaming on that 120 price. Yeah, I don't think we're going to hit 120 anytime soon. I think in order to do that, we'd have to see a really big drop in the overall market, and then we might see some like sympathy, but I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. But again, let me know. Yeah, it happens, Fomanhachi. Buying anything under 160, yeah, that's kind of. I think that's for me. I like it, but who knows, man. It was a Polestar, Jose. We'll buy when the Nasdaq hits 8K. Market is a lot further to drop. Retesting pre-market lows right now. For Nvidia, pre-market lows were, yeah, I guess you're right. Pre-market lows were right around 159s. Oh man, I hate it when TOS does this. Wow, is this wick? This is just a glitch. I'm assuming it went right up to the previous closing price, so I'm assuming this is just a glitch. Could it go up after the call? It might react to the call. You know, generally speaking, they're going to report the same things that we just went over here. All these numbers, the guidance, everything. They might report some extra guidance on the earnings calls. That generally does happen occasionally. And so that might see some type of reaction in Nvidia stock. But the earnings reports where most of the meat of the move. That's where most of the meat of the move happens. Yeah. Again, just to go over all these numbers again. Nvidia saw first quarter adjusted EPS of 136. Oh wait, make sure this is right. Okay, yeah, that's actually right. So it's 136. Let me see. I'm gonna read these numbers again and check up on it. First quarter adjusted EPS of 136. I mean, no, I think this is right. We're having some other people report it, but I think that's right. And so first quarter adjusted EPS of 116 missed the 129 estimate. We did get an updated 136 number here, though, later down the road. Second quarter sales of 8.1 to 2 billion. Why are we showing two different numbers though? Nvidia first quarter adjusted EPS of 136. Previously, they reported first quarter adjusted EPS of 116. So if they missed the 129 estimate, that means that first quarter adjusted EPS was higher than expected. Is that right? We're just going to report the 136 versus 129 estimate for now and try to stay safe. What happened was both platforms I'm checking this one, which are Benzinga and Thinkorswim, initially dropped two different, the same thing. They both reported initially 116, missed the 129, and then they both updated it to adjusted EPS of 136 cents per share. Twitter's running. Okay, so let's take a look at Twitter here. Spy up there too. Here's Twitter. What happened with Twitter? Something good happened with the deal, I bet. Let's see. Elon says that his stake in Twitter remains unchanged at 9.6%. He said on May 24th, Musk allowed the remainder of the loan commitments contemplated by the margin loan commitment letter to expire. He reported a 9.6% stake in an amended 13D filing. He also said that he's committed to providing an additional $6.25 billion in equity financing to fund portion of the Twitter merger consideration. So all of that is pretty good news for Twitter as a whole and the deal potentially going through. It will have a bounce after the earnings call. They have an amazing content management, or they have amazing management. Yeah, I believe in Nvidia too. I'm very bullish in them for the most part. I think that in terms of their niche, I think they've carved out a really good spot there, and they're obviously the alpha leader in their niche, and so I think Nvidia is just very strong. One of my favorite tech stocks. I cover the earnings every time they drop it because it's one of my favorite tech stocks. Stop buying Nvidia. I want to buy tomorrow morning. Elon selling Tesla to fund that. Hey, what's up, Isaac?
Lululemon in the house.
Yeah, what's up, man? Elon. Anyone seen Elon's tweet? I've seen it. It's kind of messed up, but I've seen it. The one with, I'm not even going to say it. It's too controversial to say here. Yeah, Nvidia, I think Nvidia had good numbers. I mean, so they missed earnings concerning guidance. And so initially they reported first quarter EPS of 116, which missed the 129 estimate by about 15 cents. Or by about 13 cents. Sales of 8.29 billion beat the 8.12 billion estimate. So they also said that they extended their buyback program for an additional 15 billion common stock through December 2023. Nvidia said that quarterly OEM and other revenue decreases were due to a decline in crypto mining processor revenue. So, not bad numbers, but bad guidance or worse than expected guidance, it looks like, and lower revenue from crypto mining. Yeah, so it looks like what they're blaming it is shutdowns and the war in Ukraine shaved $500 million off of their outlook for the current quarter, while the company reported record results. And so, yeah, they forecast revenue of $7.94 billion to $8.26 billion. Analysts set $8.4 billion on average. So worse than expected revenue forecasts for Nvidia from $7.94 billion to $8.26 billion when they expected $8.4 is what happened. So, not as good of not as good of revenue forecasts Yeah, we know how it goes, man. These earnings releases and earnings calls are both full of hype and excuses. That's what they always do. I'm not even hating on Nvidia, but I cover a lot of these. A lot of it is just fluff, Background playlist. I'll have to find it. Yeah, I hear him. He'll be alright.
She's becoming much more vocal.
Yeah, she is. Only because of the 1.25 billion arm penalty. Yeah. Aren't the supply issues priced in already? Potentially, but you know how it goes, man. People react to earnings releases even if there's nothing to react to. So people are gonna move it no matter what. We're gonna be covering the full. Earnings release or the full earnings call in about 14 minutes. So we're just gonna be streaming it. So you don't even have to go anywhere. We'll pull up the earnings call. We'll drop it all here. Nvidia support is at the 130. Once the recession hits, you'll be able to get it at that level or lower if breaks. Once it hits, I thought we were already in a recession, technically.
It seems like that, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, there was almost double, or I was looking at a graph, and it was about the amount of money that was printed over the last, 2 years since COVID, or since.
So the C word? No, I'm just messing. No, you're
the
good.
C word sounds a lot worse than the other. What you're talking about?
Yeah.
But I was talking about how much money was printed in that period of time. So it was pretty incredible. I mean, it was pretty shocking, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, fake account. Yeah, guidance is certainly what influences the earnings more than anything. A company can have great earnings and still have bad guidance and crash. A company can have terrible earnings and have good guidance and rip. And so, I agree. Hey, thank you, Arthur. I appreciate the dollar, brother. Thank you, man. Hey, what's up, Daniel? Yeah, commands are working. I don't think the playlist is there. I might have to figure it out and find a way to stick it in the playlist, though. Did they guide up or down? Down. That's why they dropped. Is mostly from worse guidance. Again, their guidance was... Where'd it go? All right, so yeah, they forecast revenue of 7.94 billion to 8.26 billion. An analyst survey by FactSet put in about 8.4 billion. So they expected 8.4 and they showed 7.9 to 8.26. So worse than expected revenue. And so their revenue forecasts were down. They also had fears of traders are apprehensive from those guidance numbers for revenue forecasts. They also said that shutdowns in China and the war in Ukraine lost them about $500 million, or will lose them about $500 million more than expected for the current quarter. But they did post record results and everything else, better than expected EPS. It looks like sales that were better than expected too, but just guidance was worse. Where? Oh, here. Yeah, so everybody's reporting Nvidia posted record sales, which again they did put a record. They put a sales beat better than expected. But yeah, weak second quarter guidance.
And see, that's what I was talking about earlier about when they, especially with things like chips and stuff, when you have to mine a lot of the elements and stuff that go into the chips, that some of these countries that are involved in this conflict that everyone's kind of watching, I mean, I think a lot of those elements come out of there, in that area, in China, and all of these other places. And especially if those countries are gearing up to have like a wartime economy, that could change things a lot. That's what I was thinking initially about, you know.
Yeah, for sure. Y'all do me a favor, guys. We're only about 140 subs away from 80,000, about 140 subs, give or take. And so if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. We day trade about $130,000 in buying power every weekday morning, live on stream. We talk about all the biggest news stories in the market. We start early as well. We start at like 6:30 in the morning. And so if you want to see the rundown on what's going on in stocks and crypto and watch somebody trade a big account every weekday morning at the open, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. Help me hit that 80,000. We're pretty close. We got about 140 away. So we'll probably hit that in the next day or two, hopefully. And problem with the housing market is that the prices. So yeah, honestly, I refuse to buy a house right now. I'm looking for an investment property, but I'm not going to buy anything right now. It's too high. You know, I feel like I'm going to lose 20% in the next 10 years if I buy it right now. And I don't feel like losing 20%. I think the housing bubble is very clear. It's an obvious housing bubble. And I'm a real estate agent as well. My license is expired right now, but I'm a real estate agent. I've worked as a real estate agent. I'm not telling you for sure. I have no idea what the market will do. Maybe the housing market rips up. I certainly am not liable. You know, don't sue me. But I think we're in a real estate bubble. I think we have been for the last year, and I think it's going to correct sometime. And I'm not buying anything. It's just too high. Prices are too high. I hope Nvidia doesn't revise guidance like Snap did. It is a great real life example of Darth. Pray I do not change the agreement further. Yeah. Nvidia contracts all their production. They buy. No issue with production. Yeah, Douglas. Wow. Yeah, they're gaming GPUs are what everybody knows them for. This is what I know them for initially. Yeah, for sure, Chris. Why the heck are you so handsome? Obama, I don't know, man. I can't help it, bro. It's just how I am, you know? Listen, when you look this good, you can't help it, man. You know? But no, I appreciate it. Guidance is bad. They are not hiring. Yeah, they're definitely not hiring right now. I think they might be, but guidance, you know, the earnings report will show you what happened. Guidance is what they think will actually happen in the future. And so, as a lot of people have been saying here, guidance is the real number you want to pay attention to, especially if you're an investor. You want to look at their guidance to see what they think, how they think they'll perform over the next period of time. And so when their guidance is down, it's generally not good. It's why we reacted negatively. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't, I mean, it was some, but you know, the price action hasn't been horrible from it as well. You know, the price action dropped some. It never broke under 150. It's still right under 160. So I still think it looks fine. But yeah, guidance.
You see why he does it. It's on an ego pump.
Oh yeah, dude, my ego is out of control running this stream, bro. Everybody's getting banned in here. You better watch out. It's like the gauntlet, you know. You're gonna get banned, you know. Oh no, bro. Last 6 months they were laying off, and I was one of them. Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that. Perrin, sorry to hear that, brother. Yeah, that's what they said. They said the guidance was down because of the Russia-Ukraine conflict and with lockdowns. Okay, so yeah, some Twitter news just dropped. And it says the FTC and DOJ is suing Twitter over allegedly misrepresenting the, quote, security and privacy of user data from May of 2013 to September of the same year. They settled the allegations in the complaint with the FTC, according to court documents. So Twitter's not really reacting much to this. I'm not sure why.
Don't ban me, bro.
Bro, I ban everybody in here. It's the gauntlet. Like I said, if you could last in this channel for 6 months, bro, you're doing something right, because I'm banning everybody in here. I'm the most modest, you know, the most humble. Definitely best looking too, and most humble in the world right now. Our neighbor sold us a lot, sold her house for $550. I don't know. If I'm buying houses, like what I wish is I wish I could go back about 10 years and buy up Detroit. I think Detroit housing was incredibly cheap, and that generally speaking, they're going to improve those conditions within a decade or so. I wish I could go back in time and just buy up Detroit housing. The hard part is to find a property manager there, but I think some of those opportunities were big, and I kind of missed it, but it's all good. All right, 5 minutes, guys. 5 minutes until the earnings report drops.
10 years ago, we were in our early 20s.
Yeah, I mean, 10 years ago, I couldn't afford anything, and but you don't understand. They were selling like mansions for like 10K,
Yeah.
like mansions,
I remember reading something.
and the mansions were terrible, but like they were selling, mansions for cheap, and eventually those neighborhoods will get better and those houses will raise in value. So it's just about.
I mean, hopefully, jobs come back.
Can you use your crystal ball and tell me what the odds of Nvidia closing in the green? Number one, I have no idea. Not an investment professional. Not liable if you lose. Always use your own assessment. Trade responsibly. Don't sue me. Not a trading advisor or professional in any way whatsoever. Don't sue me. With that said, though, if we look at where the previous closing price is, it's right up here to 161. So, I mean, I don't think the chances are that off that Nvidia ends green. I mean, what do we got? Like 3-4 hours left of after hours? I mean, to end green, it would just need to get over 161.50s. I think that's certainly possible. I don't think that's outside the realm of possibility. I don't know if it will happen. I really don't know, but it's not that far up, John, third most likely to invent a time machine, bro. That's me. I'm like that movie, The Time Machine, except I'm more handsome. That's it.
Would you come back for me? Would you come? Isn't that what that's about? He's trying to get back to his wife.
Yeah, bro. I'd come back.
Can you come back for me?
I'd come back and we'd come chill in like 2020 or 20 in like 2070. All right, so yeah, Nvidia posted first quarter adjusted EPS of 136, which beat the 126 estimate. Yeah, and that's what I said here. We fixed it as well. So they did better than expected EPS. So better than expected profitability, lower than expected guidance is really what it was. So record sales, worse guidance is, if you want to kind of quick sentence for what happened with Nvidia earnings. Lower than expected guidance, better than expected sales, record sales numbers, but worse guidance. And so basically the company did really well, but now the company doesn't think that they're going to do very well. They think they're going to do less well than expected in the coming quarter is basically it. Will you guys expect a baby in a bear market? I don't know, man. I'd like to have more kids, But like, I'm getting older now.
Scary time to have kids, because I'd have to use formula.
Yeah, Carol had the
mastectomy.
mastectomy.
It'd kind of be scary time right now to have a young baby and have to depend on formula right now. I mean.
Yeah. All right, guys. The Nvidia earnings call is going to be in about 2 minutes. 2 minutes. You hear her?
Rosie has been whining for like the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, Rosie is the most spoiled dog ever. She's a sweetheart, though. I love Rosie, but she is just a big baby.
She just makes whining sounds. She's not really barking or anything, but
yeah. All right, guys. Listen, less than a minute. Nvidia first quarter earnings are going to drop. Before the earning call starts, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, guys. Like I said, we got about 500 people still out here. Hit the subscribe button, guys. Help me hit that 80K. We got about 120 people left. So just, listen, I'm talking to you right there. I know you're sitting there thinking, man, is he talking to me? I'm talking to you. Hit the subscribe button. Do it now, right now. Just try one time. Hit the subscribe button. You want to. Are you saying the earnings call can boost this up? Not necessarily. It can, but whether it will is a different story. Why dropping so much now? Because guidance was worse. Again, we've had a few people say it, but like the real reason earnings, the real metric to pay attention to with earnings calls is guidance. Guidance is how the company thinks they'll perform in the future, as opposed to how they did perform in the past. It's always good to look at what the company thinks, how the company thinks they'll perform, and if it's lower than expected, usually the stock drops, regardless of what happens with all the other metrics. And so, with that said, great sales numbers for Nvidia, but worse than expected guidance, and so they dropped. All right, earnings call starting right now. Still hasn't started yet. We'll give it about a minute to start. once we get it started, everybody stick around, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and yeah. If you subscribe, it'll help you because we've had a spammer. And sometimes we have to put it in subscribe only mode. And so whenever you subscribe, you'll be able to avoid getting locked out during sub only mode. You'll be able to beat the spammer, avoid it, and not get locked out from it. So hit the subscribe button, guys. Waiting for the call to start. Is it start? I think it's live. Nope, they started the hold music again. All right, guys, waiting for the earnings call.
Have you done story time in a while?
No, we tell stories,
My name is David, and I'll be your conference operator today.
All right, we got David up here.
At this time, I'd like to welcome everyone to Nvidia's
How's the sound,
first
guys?
quarter
How's the
earnings
sound?
call. Today's conference is being recorded. All lines have been
you.
placed on mute to prevent any background noise.
How's the
After
earnings?
speaker's remarks, there'll be a question and answer session. If you'd like to ask a question during this
Can
time,
y'all hear this
simply
well?
press the star key followed by the number 1 on your telephone keypad. If you'd like to withdraw your
Decent?
question,
All
press
right,
star
nice.
1 once again. Thank you. Simona
That's okay.
Jankowski, you may begin your conference.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to NVIDIA's conference call for the first quarter of fiscal 2023. With me today from NVIDIA are Jensen Huang, President and Chief Executive Officer, and Colette Kress, Executive Vice President and Chief Financial Officer. I'd like to remind you that our call is being webcast live on NVIDIA's Investor Relations website. The webcast will be available for replay until the conference call to discuss our financial results for the second quarter of fiscal 2023. The content of today's call is NVIDIA's property. It can't be reproduced or transcribed without our prior written consent.
Yeah, we turn the music off.
We may make forward-looking statements based on current expectations. These are subject to a number of significant risks and uncertainties, and our actual results may differ materially. For a discussion of factors that could affect our future financial results and business, please refer to the disclosure in today's earnings release, our most recent Forms 10-K and 10-Q, and the reports that we may file on Form 8-K with the Securities and Exchange Commission. All our statements are made as of today, May 25th, 2022, based on information currently available to us. Except as required by law, we assume no obligation to update any such statements. During this call, we will discuss non-GAAP financial measures. You can find a reconciliation of these non-GAAP financial measures to GAAP financial measures in our CFO commentary, which is posted on our website. With that, let me turn the call over to Colette.
Thanks, Simona. We delivered a strong quarter, driven by record revenue in both data center and gaming, with strong fundamentals and execution against a challenging macro backdrop. Total revenue of $8.3 billion was a record, up 8% sequentially and up 46% year on year. Data center has become our largest market platform, and we see continued strong momentum going forward. Starting with gaming, revenue of $3.6 billion rose 6% sequentially and 31% year on year, powered by the GeForce RTX 30 series product cycle. Since launching in the fall of 2020, the RTX 30 series has been our best gaming product cycle ever. The gaming industry has grown tremendously, with 100 million new PC gamers added in the past 2 years, according to Newzoo. And Nvidia RTX has set new standard for the industry, with demand from both first-time GPU buyers as well as those upgrading their PCs to experience the 250 plus RTX optimized games and apps, double from last year. We estimate that almost a third of the GeForce gaming GPU installed base is now on RTX. RTX has brought tremendous energy into the gaming world and has helped drive a sustained expansion in our higher-end platforms and installed base, with significant runway still ahead. Overall, end demand remained solid, though mixed by region, and demand in Americas remained strong. However, we started seeing softness in parts of Europe related to the war in the Ukraine and parts of China due to the COVID lockdowns. As we expect some ongoing impact as we prepare for a new architectural transition later in the year, we are projecting gaming revenue to decline sequentially in Q2. Channel inventory has nearly normalized, and we expect it to remain around these levels in Q2. The extent in which cryptocurrency mining contributed to gaming demand is difficult for us to quantify with any reasonable degree of precision. The reduced pace of increase in Ethereum network hash rate likely reflects lower mining activity on GPUs. We expect a diminishing contribution going forward. Laptop gaming revenue posted strong sequential and year-on-year growth, driven by the ramp of the Nvidia RTX 30 series lineup. With this year's spring refresh and ahead of the upcoming back-to-school season, there are now over 180 laptop models featuring RTX 30 series GPUs and our energy-efficient, thin and light Max-Q technologies, up from 140 at this time last year. Driving this growth are not just gamers, but also the fast-growing category of content creators from whom we offer dedicated NVIDIA Studio drivers. We've also developed applications and tools to empower artists, from Omniverse for advanced 3D and collaboration, to Broadcast for live streaming, to Canvas for painting landscapes with AI. The creator economy is estimated at $100 billion and powered by 80 million individual creators and broadcasters. We continued to build out our GeForce Now cloud gaming service. Gamers can now access RTX 3080 class streaming, our new top-tier offering with subscription plans of $19.99 a month. We added over 100 games to the GeForce Now library, bringing the total to over 1,300 games. And last week, we launched Fortnite on GeForce Now with touch controls for mobile devices, streaming through the Safari web browser on iOS and the GeForce Now Android app. Moving to Pro Visualization. Q1 revenue was $622 million, was down sequentially 3% and up 67% from a year ago. Demand remains strong as enterprises continued to build out their employees' remote office infrastructure to support hybrid work. Sequential growth in the mobile workstation GPUs was offset by lower desktop revenue. Strong year-on-year growth was supported by the Nvidia RTX Ampere architecture product cycle. Top use cases include digital content creation at customers such as Sony Pictures Animation and medical imaging at customers such as Medtronic. In just its second quarter of general availability, our Omniverse enterprise software is being adopted by some of the world's largest companies. Amazon is using Omniverse to create digital twins to better optimize warehouse design and flow, and to train more intelligent robots. Kroger is using Omniverse to optimize store efficiency with digital twin store simulation. And PepsiCo is using Omniverse digital twins to improve the efficiency and environmental sustainability of its supply chain. Omniverse is also expanding our GPU sales pipeline, driving higher end and multiple GPU configurations. The Omniverse ecosystem continues to rapidly expand with third-party developers in the robotics, industrial automation, 3D design, and rendering ecosystems developing connections to Omniverse. Moving to automotive. Q1 revenue of $138 million increased 10% sequentially and declined 10% from the year-ago quarter. Our Drive Orin SoC is now in production and kicks off a major product cycle with auto customers ramping in Q2 and beyond. Orin has great traction in the marketplace with over 35 customer wins from automakers, truck makers, and robotaxi companies. In Q1, BYD, China's largest EV maker, and Lucid, an award-winning EV pioneer, were the latest to announce that they are building their next generation fleets on Drive Orin. Our automotive design win pipeline now exceeds $11 billion over the next 6 years, up from $8 billion just a year ago. Moving to data center. Record revenue of $3.8 billion grew 15% sequentially and accelerated to 83% growth year on year. Revenue from hyperscale and cloud computing customers more than doubled year on year, driven by strong demand for both external and internal workloads. Customers remain supply constrained in their infrastructure needs and continue to add capacity as they tried to keep pace with demand. Revenue from vertical industries grew a strong double-digit percentage from last year. Top verticals driving growth this quarter include consumer internet companies, financial services, and telecom. Overall, data center growth was driven primarily by strong adoption of our A100 GPU for both training and inference, with large volume deployments by hyperscale customers and broadening adoption across the vertical industries. Top workloads include recommender systems, conversational AI, large language models, and cloud graphics. Networking revenue accelerated on strong, broad-based demand for our next generation 25, 50, and 100 gig Ethernet adapters. Customers are choosing Nvidia's networking products for their leading performance and robust software functionality. In addition, networking revenue is benefiting from growing demand for DGX SuperPODs and cross-selling opportunities. Customers are increasingly combining our compute and networking products to build what are essentially modern AI factories, with data as the raw material input and intelligence as the output. Our networking products are still supply constrained, though we expect continued improvement throughout the rest of the year. One of the biggest workloads driving adoption of NVIDIA AI is natural language processing, which has been revolutionized by transformer-based models. Recent industry breakthroughs traced to transformers include large language models like GPT-3, NVIDIA Megamol BART for drug discovery, and DeepMind AlphaFold for protein structure prediction. Transformers allow self-supervised learning without the need for human-labeled data. They enable unprecedented levels of accuracy for tasks such as text generation, translation, summarization, and answering questions. To do that, transformers use enormous training data sets and very large neural networks, well into the hundreds of billions of parameters. To run these giant models without sacrificing low inference times, customers like Microsoft are increasingly deploying NVIDIA AI, including our NVIDIA Ampere architecture-based GPUs and full software stack. In addition, we are seeing a rising wave of customer innovation using large language models that is driven by increased demand for NVIDIA AI and GPU instances in the cloud. At GTC, we announced our next generation data center GPU, the H100, based on the new Hopper architecture. Packed with 80 billion transistors, H100 is the world's largest, most powerful accelerator, offering an order of magnitude leap in performance over the A100. We believe H100 is hitting the market at the perfect time. H100 is ideal for advancing large language models and deep recommender systems, the two largest scale AI workloads today. We are working with leading server makers and hyperscale customers to qualify and ramp H100. It, as well as the new DGX H100 AI computing system, will ramp in volume late in the calendar year. Building on the H100 product cycle, we are on track to launch our first ever data center CPU, Grace, in the first half of 2023. Grace is the ideal CPU for AI factories. This week at Computex, we announced that dozens of server models based on Grace will be brought to market by the first wave of system builders, including ASUS, Foxconn, Gigabyte, QCT, Supermicro, and Wiwynn. These servers will be powered by the NVIDIA Grace CPU Superchip, which features two CPUs, and the Grace Hopper Superchip, which pairs an NVIDIA Hopper GPU with an NVIDIA Grace CPU in an integrated model. We've introduced new reference designs based on Grace for the massive new workloads of next-generation data centers. CGX for cloud graphics and gaming, OVX for digital twins or Omniverse, and HGX for HPC and AI. These server designs are all optimized for NVIDIA's rich accelerated computing software stacks and can be qualified as part of our NVIDIA certified systems lineup. The enabler for the Grace Hopper and Grace Superchips is our ultra energy efficient, low latency, high speed memory coherent interconnect called NVLink, which scales from die to die, chip to chip, and system to system. With NVLink, we can configure Grace and Hopper to address a broad range of workloads. Future NVIDIA chips, the CPUs, GPUs, CPUs, NICs, and SoCs will integrate NVLink just like Grace and Hopper based on our world-class SerDes technology. We are making NVLink open to customers and partners to implement custom chips that connect to NVIDIA's platforms. In networking, we're kicking off a major product cycle with the introduction of Spectrum-4, the world's first 400 gigabit per second end-to-end Ethernet networking platform, including the Spectrum-4 switch, ConnectX-7 SmartNIC, Bluefield 3 DPU, and the DOCA software. Built for AI, NVIDIA Spectrum-4 arrives as data centers are growing exponentially and demanding extreme performance, advanced security, and powerful features to enable high performance, advanced virtualization, and simulation at scale. Across our businesses, we are launching multiple new GPU, CPU, DPU, and SoC products over the coming quarters, with a ramp in supply to support the customer demand. Moving to the rest of the P&L, GAAP gross margin for the first quarter was 65.5%, and non-GAAP gross margin was up 67.1%, up 90 basis points from a year ago and up 10 basis points sequentially. We have been able to offset rising costs and supply chain pressures. We expect to maintain gross margins at current levels in Q2. Going forward, as new products ramp and software becomes a larger percent of revenue, we have opportunities to increase gross margins longer term. GAAP operating margin was 22.5%, impacted by a $1.35 billion acquisition termination charge related to the ARM transaction. Non-GAAP operating margin was 47.7%. We are closely managing our operating expenses to balance the current macro environment with our growth opportunities, and we've been very successful in hiring so far this year and are now slowing to integrate these new employees. This also enables us to focus our budget on taking care of our existing employees as inflation persists. We are still on track to grow our non-GAAP operating expenses in the high 20s range this year. We expect sequential increases to level off after Q2, as the first half of the year includes a significant amount of expenses related to the bring up of multiple new products, which should not reoccur in the second half. During Q1, we repurchased $2 billion of our stock. Our board of directors increased and extended our share repurchase program to repurchase an additional common stock up to a total of $15 billion through December 2023. Let me now turn to the outlook for the second quarter of fiscal 2023. Our outlook assumes an estimated impact of approximately $500 million relating to Russia and China COVID lockdowns. We estimate the impact of lower sell-through in Russia and China to affect our Q2 gaming sell-in by $400 million. Furthermore, we estimate the absence of sales to Russia to have a $100 million impact on Q2 in data center. We expect strong sequential growth in data center and automotive to be more than an offset by the sequential decline in gaming. Revenue is expected to be $8.1 billion, plus or minus 2%. GAAP and non-GAAP gross margins are expected to be 65.1% and 67.1%, respectively, plus or minus 50 basis points. GAAP operating expenses are expected to be $2.46 billion. Non-GAAP operating expenses are expected to be $1.75 billion. GAAP and non-GAAP other income and expenses are expected to be an expense of approximately $40 million, excluding gains and losses on non-affiliated investments. GAAP and non-GAAP tax rates are expected to be 12.5%, plus or minus 1%, excluding discrete items. And capital expenditures are expected to be approximately $400 million to $450 million. Further financial details are included in the CFO commentary and other information available on our IR website. In closing, let me highlight the upcoming events for the financial community. We'll be attending the BofA Securities Technology Conference in person on June 7th, where Jensen will participate in a keynote fireside chat. Our earnings call to discuss the results of our second quarter of fiscal 2023 is scheduled for Wednesday, August 24th. We will now open the call for questions. Operator, could you please poll for questions? Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to remind everyone, in order to ask a question, press star, then the number 1 on your telephone keypad. We ask that you please limit yourself to one question. We'll pause for just a moment to compile the Q&A roster. We'll take our first question from CJ Muse with Evercore ISI. Your line is open.
Yeah, good afternoon. Thank you for taking the question. I guess would love to get an update on how you're thinking about the gaming cycle from here. The business has essentially doubled over the last 2 years, and now we've got some crosswinds with crypto falling off, channel potentially clearing ahead of a new product cycle. You talked about macro challenges, but at the same time, only a third of the installed base has RTX. And we're moving out from under supply. So we'd love to hear your thoughts from here once we get beyond kind of the challenges around COVID lockdown in the July quarter, how you're thinking about gaming trends.
Yeah, CJ, thanks for the question. You captured a lot of the dynamics well in your question. The underlying dynamics of the gaming industry is really solid. Net of the situation with COVID lockdown in China and Russia, the rest of the market is fairly robust, and we expect the gaming dynamics to be intact. The several things that are driving the gaming industry in the last 2 years alone, 100 million new gamers came into the PC industry. The format has expanded tremendously, and the ways that people are using their PCs to connect with friends, to be an influencer as a platform for themselves, use it for broadcast. So many people are now using their home PCs as their second workstation, if you will, second studio, because they're also working from home. It is our primary way of communicating these days. The need for GeForce PCs have never been greater, and so I think that the fundamental dynamics are really good. And so as we look into the second half of the year, it's hard to predict exactly when COVID and the war in Russia is going to be behind us. But nonetheless, the governing dynamics of the gaming industry is great.
Next, we'll go to Matt Ramsey with Cowen. Your line's open.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. Jensen, I wanted to ask a bit of a question on the data center business. In this upcoming cycle with H100, there's some I/O upgrades that are happening in servers that I think are going to be a fairly strong driver for you, in addition to what's going on with Hopper and the huge performance leaps that are there. I wanted to ask a longer term question, though, around your move to NVLink with Grace and Hopper and what's going on with your whole portfolio. Do you envision the business continuing to be sort of card driven, attached to third-party servers, or do you think revenue shifts dramatically or in a small way over time to be more sort of vertically integrated, all of the chips together on NVLink, and how is the industry sort of responding to that potential move? Thanks.
Yeah, appreciate the question. Let's see. The first point that you made is a very big point. The next generation of servers that are being teed up right now are all Gen 5. The I/O performance is substantially higher than what was available before, and so you're going to see a pretty large refresh as a result of that. Brand new networking cards from our company and others. Gen 5, of course, drives new platform refresh, and so we're perfectly timed to ramp into the Gen 5 generation with Hopper. There are a lot of different system configurations you want to make. If you take a step back and look at the type of systems that are necessary for data processing, scientific computing, machine learning and training, inference, done in the cloud for hyperscale nature, done on-prem for enterprise computing, done at the edge. Each one of these workloads and deployment locations, the way that you manage would dictate a different system architecture. So there isn't one size that fits all, which is one of the reasons why it's so terrific that we support PCI Express, that we innovated chip-to-chip interconnect before anybody else did. This is now some 7 years ago. We're in our 4th generation of NVLink. That allows us to connect 2 chips next to each other, 2 dies, 2 chips, 2 modules, 2 SXM modules to 2 systems, to multiple systems. And so our coherent chip-to-chip link, NVLink, has made it possible for us to mix and match chips, dies, packages, systems in all of these different types of configurations. And I think that over time, you're going to see even more types of configurations. And the reason for that has to do with a couple of very important new type of data centers that are emerging. And you're starting to see that now with fairly large installations, infrastructures with NVIDIA HPC and NVIDIA AI. These are really AI factories where you're processing the data, refining the data, and turning that data into intelligence. These AI factories are essentially running one major workload, and they're running it 24/7. Deep recommender systems is a good example of that. In the future, you're going to see large language models essentially becoming a platform themselves. That would be running 24/7, hosting a whole bunch of applications. And then on the other end, you're seeing data centers at the edge that are going to be robotics or autonomous data centers that are running 24/7. They are going to be running in factories and retail stores and warehouses, logistic warehouses, all over the world. So these 2 new type of data centers are just emerging, and they also have different architectures. So I think that the net of it all is that our ability to support every single workload, because we have a universal accelerator, we're running every single workload from data processing to data analytics to high performance computing to training to inference, that we can support ARM and x86, that we support PCI Express to multi-system NVLink, to multi-chip NVLink, to multi-die NVLink. That capability for us makes it possible for us to really be able to serve all of these different segments. With respect to vertical integration, I think that system integration, the better way of maybe saying that is that system integration is going to come in all kinds of different ways. We're going to do semi-custom chips, as we've done with many companies in the past, including Nintendo. We'll do semi-custom chiplets, as we do with NVLink. NVLink is open to our partners, and they could bring it to any fab and connect it coherently into our chip. We could do multi-module packages. We could do multi-package systems. So there's a lot of different ways to do system integration.
Next, we'll go to Stacy Rasgon with Bernstein Research. Your line is now open.
Hi, guys. Thanks for taking my question. I wanted to follow up on the sequential. So, Colette, I know you said the 500 million was a 400 million hit to gaming and a 100 million hit to data center. I'm assuming that doesn't mean that gaming is down 400 million. I mean, is gaming? Do you see gaming actually down more than the actual Russia and lockdown hit? And I guess just how do I think about the relative sequentials of the businesses in light of those constraints that you guys are facing?
Sure. Let me start first with what does that mean to gaming? What does that mean to gaming for Q2? We do expect gaming to decline into Q2. We still believe our end demand remains very strong. Ampere has just been a great architecture, and there's many areas where we continue to see strength and growth in both our sell-through and probably what we will see added into that channel as well. But in total, Q2 gaming will decline from last quarter, from Q1, that it will probably decline in the teens as we try and work through some of these lockdowns in China, which are holding us up. So overall, the demand for gaming is still strong. We still expect end demand to grow year over year in Q2.
Next, we'll go to Mark Lipacis with Jefferies. Your line's open.
Hi, thanks for taking my question. If you listen to the networking OEMs this earnings season, it seems that there was a lot of talk about increased spending by enterprises on their data centers, and sometimes you hear them talking about how this is being driven by AI. You talked about your year-over-year growth in your cloud versus enterprise spending. I wonder if you could talk about what you were seeing sequentially. Are you seeing a sequential inflection in the enterprise? And can you talk about the attach rate of software for enterprise versus data centers, and which software are you seeing the most interest? I know you talked about, is it Omniverse, is it natural language processing, or is there one big driver, or is it a bunch of drivers for the various different software packages you have? Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. We had a record data center business this last quarter. We expect to have another record quarter this quarter. And we're fairly enthusiastic about the second half. AI and data-driven machine learning techniques for writing software and extracting insight from the vast amount of data that companies have is incredibly strategic to all the companies that we know. Because in the final analysis, AI is about automation of intelligence, and most companies are about domain-specific intelligence. We want to produce intelligence. And there are several techniques now that have been created to make it possible for most companies to apply their data to extract insight and to automate a lot of the predictive things that they have to do and do it quickly. And so I think the trend that you hear other people experiencing about machine learning, data analytics, data-driven insights, artificial intelligence, however it's described, is all exactly the same thing, and it's sweeping just about every industry and every company. Our networking business is also highly supply constrained. Our demand is really, really high. And it requires a lot of components aside from just our chips, components and transceivers and connectors and cables, and it's a complicated system, the network, and there are many physical components. And so the supply chain has been problematic. We're doing our best, and our supply has been increasing from Q4 to Q1. We're expecting it to increase in Q2 and increase in Q3 and Q4. And so we're really, really grateful for the support from the component industry around us and we'll be able to increase that. With respect to software, there are two. Well, first of all, there are all kinds of machine learning models: computer vision, speech AI, natural language understanding, all kinds of robotics applications. The most probably the largest, the most visible one is self-driving cars, which is essentially a robotic AI. And then recently, this incredible breakthrough from a AI model called transformers that has led to really significant advances in natural language understanding. And so there are all these different types of models. There are thousands and thousands of species of AI models, and used in all these different industries. One of my favorite, I'll just say very quickly, and I'll answer that question about the software. One of my favorites is using transformers to understand the language of chemistry, or using transformers and using AI models to understand the language of proteins, amino acids, which is genomics. To apply AI to understand, to recognize the patterns, to understand the sequence, and essentially understand the language of chemistry and biology is a really important breakthrough. And all of this excitement around synthetic biology, much of it stems back to some of these inventions. But anyhow, all of these different models need an engine to run on, and that engine is called Nvidia AI. In the case of hyperscalers, they can cobble together a lot of open source, and we provide a lot of our source to them and a lot of our engines to them for them to operate their AI. But for enterprises, they need someone to package it together and be able to support it and refresh it, update it for new architectures, support old architectures and their installed base, et cetera, and all the different use cases that they have. And so that engine is called Nvidia AI. It's almost like a SQL engine, if you will, and except this is an engine for artificial intelligence. There's another engine that we provide, and that engine is called Omniverse, and it's designed for the next wave of AI, where artificial intelligence has to not just manipulate information like recommender systems and conversational systems and such, but it has to interact with physical systems, whether it's interacting with physics directly, meaning robotics, or being able to automate physical systems like heat recovery steam generators, which is really important today. And so Omniverse is designed to be able to sit at that interface, that intersection between simulation and artificial intelligence, and that's what Omniverse is about. Omniverse has now, let's see, we're still early in the deployment of Omniverse for commercial license. It's been a couple of quarters now since we've released Omniverse Enterprise, and I think at this point we have 10% of the world's top 100 companies that are already customers, licensing customers. Substantially more who are evaluating. I think it's been downloaded nearly 200,000 times. It is being tried in some 700 companies. And Colette highlighted some of the companies. You might see some of the companies that are using it in all kinds of interesting applications at GTC. And so I fully expect that the Nvidia AI engine, the Omniverse engine, are going to be very successful for us in the future and contribute greatly to our earnings.
Next, we'll go to Vivek Arya with BofA Securities. Your line's open.
Thanks. Just wanted to clarify, Colette, if your Q2 outlook includes any restocking benefits from the new products that you're planning to launch this year. And then, Jensen, my question is for you. You're still guiding data center to a very strong, I think close to 70% or so year-on-year growth, despite all the headwinds. Are you worried at all about all the headlines about the slowdown in the macroeconomy? Is there any cyclical impact on data center growth that we should keep in mind as we think about the second half of the year?
Yeah, Vivek, let me first answer the question that you asked regarding any new products as we look at Q2. As we discuss about it, most of the ramp that we have of our new architectures, we're going to see in the back half of the year. We're going to start to see, for example, Hopper will probably be here in Q3, but starting to ramp closer to the end of the calendar year. So you should think about most of our product launches to be ramping in the second half of the year on that part. I'll turn it over for Jensen for the rest.
Thanks. Our data center demand is strong and remains strong. Hyperscale and cloud computing revenues, as you mentioned, has grown significantly, has doubled year over year. And we're seeing really strong adoption of A100. A100 is really quite special and unique in the world of accelerators. And this is one of the really, really great innovations as we extended our GPU from graphics to CUDA to Tensor Core GPUs. It's now a universal accelerator. And so you could use it for data processing, for ETL, for example, extract, transform, and load. You could use it for database acceleration. Many SQL functions are accelerated on NVIDIA GPUs. We accelerate Rapids, we accelerate, which is the Python version, data center scale version of Pandas. We accelerate Spark 3.0, and so from database queries to data processing to extraction and transform and loading of data before you do training and inference, and whatever image processing or other algorithmic processing you need to do can be fully accelerated on A100. And so we're seeing great success there.
Nvidia coming back
at the core, in closer to what is happening today. You're seeing several different, very important new AI models that are being invested in at very, very large scale and with great urgency. You probably have heard about deep recommender systems. This is the economic engine, the information filtering engine of the internet. If not for the recommender system, it would be practically impossible for us to enjoy our internet experience, shopping experience, with trillions of things that are changing in the world every day, constantly, and to be able to use your 3-inch phone to even engage the internet. And so all of that magic is made possible by this incredible thing called a recommender system. The second thing is conversational AI. You're seeing chatbots and website customer service, and even live customer service being now supported by AI. Conversational AI has an opportunity to enhance the customer service on the one hand, on the other hand, supplement for a lot of labor shortage. And then the third is this groundbreaking piece of work as related to transformers that led to natural language understanding breakthrough, but within it is this incredible thing called large language models, which embeds human knowledge because it's been trained in so much data. And we recently announced Megatron 530B, and it was a collaboration we did with Microsoft, the foundation of I think they call it Turing. This language model and others like it, like OpenAI's GPT-3, are really transformative, and they take an enormous amount of computation. However, the net result is a pre-trained model that is really quite remarkable. We're working with thousands of startups, large companies that are building, who are using the public cloud, and so it's driving a lot of demand for us in the public cloud. I think we have now 10,000 AI inception startups that are working with us and using NVIDIA AI. Whether it's on-prem or in the cloud, it saves money because the computation time is significantly reduced. The quality of service is a lot better, and they could do greater things. And so that's driving AI in the cloud. And so all of these different factors, whether it's just the industrial recognition of the importance of AI, the transformative nature of these new AI models, recommender systems, large language models, conversational AI, the thousands of companies around the world that are using NVIDIA AI in the cloud, driving public cloud demand. All of these things are driving our data center growth, and so we expect to see data center demand remain strong.
Next, we'll go to Tim Arcuri with UBS. Your line's open.
Thank you very much. I had a question about this $500 million impact for July and whether it's more supply related or demand related. And that's because most others in semis are sort of citing this China stuff in particular as more of a logistics issue, so more of a supply issue. But the language, Colette, you were using in your commentary cited lower sell-through in gaming and sort of the absence of sales in Russia. To me, that sounds a little more demand, which would make sense in the context of this new, freeze on hiring that you have. So I asked because if it's supply related, then you could argue that it's not perishable and really just timing. But if demand related, that might never come back, and it could be the beginning of a falling knife. So I wonder if you can sort of walk through that for me. Thanks.
Well, thanks, Tim, for the question. Let me try a bet here on the China and Russia. Two very different things. The current China lockdowns that we are seeing, interestingly, has implications to both supply and demand. We have seen challenges in terms of the logistics throughout the country, things going in, out of the country. It puts a lot of pressure on just logistics that were already under pressure. From a demand perspective, it has also been hit from the gaming side. You have very large cities that are in full lockdown, focusing really on other important things for the citizens there. So it's impacting our demand. We do believe that they will come out of COVID and the demand for our products will come back. We do believe that will occur. The supply will sort itself out. It's very difficult to determine how. Now, in the case of Russia, we're not selling to Russia. That's something that we had announced earlier last quarter. But there were plans, and Russia has been a part of our overall company revenue, probably about 2% of our company revenue historically, and a little larger percentage when you look at our gaming business. Hope that helped.
Next, we'll go to Ambrish Srivastava with BMO. Your line is now open.
Hi, thank you very much, Colette and Jensen. And I actually really appreciate it that you call out demand for most chip companies. It seems like it's heresy to say demand is a problem. So refreshing to hear that. I had a question on the second half, and it relates to both data center as well as gaming. So last couple of times you have talked publicly, you have made comments that your visibility into the data center has never been better. So I was wondering if you just take out the Russia impact, is that still true? All the orders that you have been getting, they're intact, and you did say that business will see a strong momentum. I just wanted to make sure that statement of confidence you have made stays. And then on gaming, Colette, do we expect second half to be up year over year, just based on the guide for second quarter? It seems like could be up sequentially, but may not return to year-over-year growth in Q3. Thank you.
Yeah, Ambrish, thanks for the question. On first principles, it should be the case that our visibility of data centers is vastly better than a couple of years ago. And the reason for that is several. One, if you recall, a couple, 2-3 years ago, deep learning and AI was starting to accelerate in the most computer science deep companies in the world with CSPs and hyperscalers, but just about everywhere else it was still quite nascent. And there was a couple of reasons for that. Obviously, the understanding of the technology is not as pervasive at the time. The type of industrial use cases for artificial intelligence requires labeling of data that's really quite difficult. And then now with transformers, you have unsupervised learning and other techniques, zero-shot learning that allows us to do all kinds of interesting things without having to have human labeled data. We even have synthetic generated data with Omniverse that helps customers do data generation without having to label data, which is either too costly, or quite frankly, oftentimes impossible. And so now the knowledge and the the technology has evolved to a place that most of the industries could use artificial intelligence at a fairly effective way, and in many industries, rather transformative. And so I think number one, we went from clouds as hyperscalers to all of industry. Second, we went from training focused to inference. Most people thought that inference was going to be easy. It turns out inference is by far the harder. And the reason for that is because there's so many different models and there's so many different use cases and so many quality of service requirements. And you want to run these inference models in as small of a footprint as you can. And so when you scale out, the number of users that use the service is really quite high. So using acceleration and using NVIDIA's platform, we could inference any model from computer vision to speech to chemistry to biology, you name it. And we do it so quickly and so fast that the cost is very low. And so the more acceleration you do, the more money you will save. And that I think that wisdom is absolutely true. And so the second dimension is training to inference. The third dimension is that we now have so many different types of configurations of systems that we can go from high performance computing systems all the way to cloud to on-prem to edge, and then the final concept is really this industrial deployment now of AI that's causing us to be able to in just about every industry find growth. And so as you know, our cloud and hyperscalers are growing very, very quickly. However, the vertical industries, which is the financial services and retail and telco and all of those vertical industries have also grown very, 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 very nicely. And so in all of those different dimensions, our visibility should be a lot better. And then starting a couple of years ago, adding the Mellanox portfolio to our company, we're able to provide a lot more solution-oriented end-to-end platform solutions for companies that don't have the skills and don't have the technical depth to be able to stand up these sophisticated systems. And so our networking business is growing very, very nicely as well.
Next, we'll go to Harlan Sur with JP Morgan. Your line's open.
Hi, good afternoon. Thanks for letting me ask a question. I just want to maybe just ask this question a little bit more directly. So it's good to see the team being able to drive, navigate the dynamic supply chain environment, right? You have strong sequential growth in data center in April, here in the July quarter, even with some demand impact from Russia, right? And so as we think about the second half of the year, cloud spending is strong and it's actually, I think, accelerating. You're getting ready to ramp H100 later in the year. Mellanox, I think, is getting more supply as you move through the year. And in general, I think previously you guys were anticipating sequential supply and revenue growth for the business through this entire year. I understand the uncertainty around gaming, but does the team expect continued sequential growth in data center through the remainder of the year?
Either one of us can answer. The answer is yes. The answer is yes. We see a strong demand in data center, hyperscale, the cloud computing, the vertical industries. Ampere is going to continue to scale out. It's been qualified in every single company in the world, and so after 2 years, it remains the best universal accelerator on the planet, and it's going to continue to scale out in all these different domains and different markets. We're going to layer on top of that a brand new architecture, Hopper. We're going to layer on top of that brand new networking architectures, Quantum 3, CX7, Bluefield 3, and we have increasing supply. And so we're looking forward to an excellent quarter next quarter again for data centers and going into the second half.
Next, we'll go to Chris Caso with Raymond James. Your line's open.
Yes, thank you. Wonder if you could speak a little bit about the purchase obligations, which seem like they were up again in the quarter, and how that it was that a function of longer dated obligations or a higher magnitude of obligations? And maybe you could just speak to supply constraints in general. You've mentioned a couple times in the call about continued constraints in the networking business. What about the other parts of the business? Where are you still constrained?
Yeah, so let me start here and I'll see if Jensen wants to add more of that. Our purchase obligations, as well as our prepaids, have two major things to keep in mind. One, for the first time ever, we are prepaying to make sure that we have that supply and those commitments long term. And additionally, on our purchase obligations, many of them are for long lead time items that are a must for us to procure to make sure that we have for the products coming to market. A good percentage of our purchase commitments is for our data center business, which you can imagine are much larger systems, much more complex systems, and those things that we are procuring to make sure we can feed the demand both in the upcoming quarters and further. Areas in terms of where we are still a little bit supply constrained. Our networking, our demand is quite strong. We've been improving it each time, but yes, we still have supply concerns with networking still. Is there others that you want to add on, Jensen?
No, I thought you were perfect. That was perfect.
Our final question comes from Aaron Rakers with Wells Fargo. Your line's open.
Yeah, thanks for fitting me in. And most of my questions around gaming and data center have been answered, but I guess I'll ask about the auto segment. While it's still small, clearly you guys, sound confident in that business starting to see quote unquote significant sequential growth into this next quarter. I'm wondering if you could help us, kind of think about the trajectory of that business over the next couple quarters. And, I think in the past you've said that should start to really inflect higher as we move into the second half of the year. Just curious if you could help us think about that piece of the business.
Several data points. We are just starting. We have just started shipping Orin in the first quarter of shipping production Orin. Orin is a robotics processor. It's designed for a software-defined robotic car or robotic pick and placer or a robotic mover, logistics mover. And we've been designed into 35 car and trucks and robo-taxi companies and more others if you include logistics movers and last mile delivery systems and farming equipment. And the number of design wins for Orin is really quite fantastic. Orin is a revolutionary processor, and it's designed as a, if you will, a data center on a chip. And it is the first data center on a chip that is robotic, processes sensor information. It's safe. It has the ability to be rather resilient. It has confidential computing. It is designed to be secure. Designed to be all those things. Because these data centers are going to be everywhere. And so Orin is really a technological marvel in production. We experience very likely the lowest auto quarter in some time, for some time. And the reason for that is because over the next 6 years or so, we have $11 billion in counting of business that we've secured, estimated. And so I think it's a fairly safe thing to say now that Orin and our autonomous vehicle and robotics business is going to be our next multi-billion-dollar business. It's on its way, surely there. The robotics and autonomous systems and autonomous machines, whether they move or not move, but AI systems that are at the physical edge, is surely going to be the next major computing segment. It is surely going to be the next major data center segment. We've been working in this area, as you know, for a decade. We have a fair amount of expertise in this area, And Orin is just one example of our work here. We have 4 pillars to our strategy for autonomous systems, starting from the data processing and the AI training part of it, to train robotics AIs. Second, to simulate robotics AIs, which is Omniverse. Third, to be the memory of the robotics AI, otherwise known as mapping. And then finally, the actual robotics application and the robotics processor in the system. And that's where Orin goes. But Orin is just one of our 4 pillars of our robotics strategy and the next wave of AI. And so I am really optimistic and really enthusiastic about the next phase of the computer industry's growth. And I think a lot of it's going to be at the edge. A lot of it's going to be about robotics.
Thank you. I'll now turn it back over to Jensen Huang for any additional closing remarks.
Thanks, everyone. The full impact and duration of the war in Ukraine and COVID lockdowns in China is difficult to predict. However, the impact of our technology and our market opportunities remain unchanged. The effectiveness of deep learning AI continues to astound. The transformer model, which led to the natural language understanding breakthroughs, is being advanced to learn patterns with great spatial, sequential, and temporal complexity. Researchers are creating transformer models that are revolutionizing applications from robotics to drug discovery. The effectiveness of deep learning AI is driving companies across industries to adopt Nvidia for AI computing. We're focused on 4 major initiatives. First, ramping our next generation of AI infrastructure chips and platforms, Hopper GPU, Bluefield DPU, NVLink, InfiniBand, Quantum InfiniBand, Spectrum Ethernet networking. And all this to help customers build their AI factories and take advantage of new AI breakthroughs like transformers. Second, ramping our system and software industry partners to launch Grace, our first CPU. Third, ramping Orin, our new robotics processor, and nearly 40 customers building cars, robotaxi.
Is it just me or the call? Did the call just drop? Is it my sound? No? Here, hold on. Are we running into server issues with Nvidia? Weird, man. All right, guys. So for whatever reason, my stream messed up. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. We're going to be going over to our next crypto show on the State of Crypto report by A16Z. And so we're going to be going over that report now. Stick around. Hit the subscribe button here. We day trade about 120,000 in buying power every weekday morning at the opening bell. We're about less than 100 subscribers away from 80K. So hit that sub button. Hit the notification bell. Yeah, their chips overheated. Maybe that's what it. Maybe that's what happened. It looks like the conference call dropped. We're going to be going over to our crypto live streaming channel, guys, our crypto live streaming channel. So stick around. You won't have to go anywhere. Just stay here and it'll automatically route you to our crypto channel. And so with that said, guys, we'll see you guys over there. Don't leave. Stay here. It's going to automatically route you to our crypto channel with redirects. We're doing a show on the state of crypto, And yeah, we'll see what happens. Later, guys.